With all the issues Texas has had this year, the Longhorns didn't need a quarterback controversy. But after David Ash struggled mightily on the road at Kansas, Case McCoy came out of the phone booth and led the Horns to 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns and a comeback win. Here in Lubbock, there's one quarterback, and he leads the nation with 30 touchdown passes. Seth Doege is a senior. He's got one more chance to beat Texas. It's the Longhorns and Red Raiders now. And we welcome you to Lubbock and ESPN College Football as the Red Raiders take the field. Huge game today in the Big 12 between Texas and Texas Tech. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen here with Danny Kanell. Maria Taylor will join us in just a moment. Texas A&M gone to the SEC. Spent some time with Tommy Tuberville yesterday. He spent some time in the SEC at Auburn. He compares this rivalry now to the Iron Bowl in terms of Texas football.
You can always judge a rivalry by when you show up on game day. What's the atmosphere like? Sure enough, 3 hours before the game, you could sense that vibe, that electricity. The student section has been packed for the last 2 hours. They are definitely fired up for this matchup.
You're also fired up. A quarterback that gets to watch Seth Doege play.
I can't wait to watch this young man take the field. He's been making phenomenal decisions with the football. Early in the year out of the Big 12, a lot of talk was about Geno Smith. Well, the guy leading the country in touchdown passes is Seth Doege. Can't wait to see him do it today.
When you think about Texas as well, normally defense a stalwart. This year, not so much.
Yeah, not so much at all. Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator, has really been trying to find a formula that works. In the last 5 games, they've given up 45.6 points per game. They've got to figure out something different. They've got to get Alex Okafor coming off the edge to disrupt Seth Doege this afternoon.
The winner of this game still alive in the Big 12. The loser all but eliminated. We'll kick it off when we come back to Lubbock. It's getting late in college football season when you know college basketball is just around the corner. Texas and Texas Tech, though, today here at Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock. Maria Taylor again will join us in just a moment. I'm Bob Wischusen with Danny Kanell. The Horns won the toss, deferred their option to the second half, so we'll see the #1 touchdown thrower in college football so far this season, Seth Doege, take over first. The crowd has been slowly filing in for the past 2 hours. The student section was packed at least 2 hours ago, and we are underway. Big rivalry game in the Lone Star State. Nick Rose sends it deep and forces a touchback for the 19th time this season. So let's take a closer look at the numbers that Seth Doege has put up. #1 in the Big 12 in touchdowns and completions. #2 in completion percentage and yards. He has been terrific this year.
He has been phenomenal, making great decisions with the football. And Tommy Tuberville did not hide the fact, hey, we go as Seth Doege goes. They need him to play well if they want to have continued success.
32 total touchdown passes thrown by the Red Raiders this year. 5 more than any other team in college football. And they'll start through the air. Doege with a pump fake, swings it up the left sideline, and it's broken up through the hands of Eric Stevens. And he was met in the flat by Carrington Bondum. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, this Texas Tech offense, they come at you fast and furious. No huddle offense. They get to the line. Typically, they have 4 and 5 wideouts. They're showing this game so far. They've got a couple backs in the backfield, but they'll throw a lot of different formations at you to throw your defense off as much as possible.
A little screen to Eric Stevens. Gets to the sideline. Picks up 4. So it will be 3rd down and 6, and we go down to Maria.
Yeah, guys, Mack Brown made it clear that David Ash was going to be his quarterback this game, and I got here early for the pregame. He was the first one on the field, beat everyone else out here. He was throwing the ball around with managers, really trying to get a feel for this game, guys. It's the earliest I've ever seen a player enter onto the sidelines and come into the game, guys.
Well, on 3rd down, Seth Doege tries to hold on to the football and can't do it. So a 3 and out to start the game for Texas Tech. David Ash, Danny, in the midst of probably a split fan base, you'd have to say, in Austin. And maybe it's just because the backup's last name is McCoy, but there is a little bit of a quarterback controversy.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt. I think a lot of the thing I'll be watching is the start for this game for David Ash. Can he get that confidence going and have some success early? Because if he doesn't, he is going to be looking over his shoulder, and we'll probably will see Case McCoy.
Any stop for either team is a good one in this game. And there goes the flag for what might be roughing the kicker. Erxleben just got the punt away, and the flag was thrown as he was popped. Tevin Jackson was the first of several horns there to run into the kicker.
It looked like it almost got tipped coming off the punter's leg.
Well, that might be the conversation that the officials are having.
There are fouls by both teams. Illegal formation. Offense, 5 men in the backfield. Personal foul. Roughing the kicker. Receiving team, number 11. The foul's offset. Repeat 4th down.
That's a huge break for Texas.
Huge break.
So Texas avoids the personal foul. That was a jailbreak on the punt rush.
Yes, it was. And that'll be something. You saw the Texas Tech punt team over on the sideline know they're getting coached up so that this time you won't see that same jailbreak again.
Quandre Diggs still back deep to receive the punt of Erxleben. And much better protection this time. Fair catch by Diggs, made at about the 28-yard line. 43-yard punt. And David Ash, who struggled mightily last week against Kansas, holds for what resulted in a fourth-quarter comeback by Case McCoy. Ash with only 63 yards passing, 2 interceptions, one of those down in the red zone. And you can see so far this season, not bad touchdown to interception ratio, Danny, but against arguably the worst team in the Big 12 last week, he was replaced.
Oh, he struggled. It's all about the mental aspect for David Ash today. You know he's got the physical tools to get it done. Just needs to get that confidence back.
They'll start on the ground with the freshman Jonathan Gray. He's got room. A burst into the secondary for Jonathan Gray. All the way down to the 45-yard line. So his first time at the top of the depth chart, and the top recruit makes a huge play early.
We knew this true freshman Jonathan Gray was going to have a big impact on this game, getting his first start. Picks up a nice block by his center, number 55, Dominic Espinoza. Gets to that second level. You see some of the speed that can get him back for that 26-yard gain on the ground.
And he's heading in the wrong direction. Well, we've seen that from Brian Harsin, the play caller for the Longhorns before. Marquise Goodwin, obviously an Olympic-level track athlete. They want to get the ball in his hands any way they can.
Watch the handoff. They hand it, and that is the hardest thing to do, is to give that ball to a wide receiver running full speed. That's why a lot of teams, they'll pitch it in the air and give them almost a soft toss so that they don't get your hand caught in those pads in there. That's exactly what happened on that play. And a disastrous first down loss, putting David Ash and company in a 2nd and 17 situation.
Play action for Ash. He's under some pressure, trying to buy some time, turns the corner and gets to midfield. So it'll be 3rd down and long. Bumped out of bounds by Kerry Hyder as we check our impact players for the Longhorns, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, the freshman running back, Jonathan Gray, we already saw the tool, the physical set that he brings to that speed to the backfield. Mike Davis is their biggest threat on the outside. And then defensively, Alex Okafor is a beast on the outside. He was the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year selection. He is living up to it, having a great year.
Texas is 7th in the nation in 3rd down conversion percentage. Not usually from 3rd and 14 though. They set up the screen, and Jonathan Gray's got it. And he's got room. Down the sideline. The first down and plenty more. And just like that, the screen on 3rd and 14 puts the Longhorns in the red zone.
And I like the play calling here early from Brian Harsin, giving David Ash some easy completion. Here comes the screen. Jonathan Gray lined up right next to him. Just an easy completion for Ash, and then Jonathan Gray does the rest. See the nice block right there by number 75, Trey Hopkins. In a big game, that's a huge first down conversion there for Texas. It's all about the confidence for this offense.
Jonathan Gray already has 60 yards of total offense. He's been the weapon on this drive. He takes the handoff, bounces it outside. And picks up about 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7 as we take a look at the keys to the game from Danny Kanell for the Longhorns.
Well, we've harped on it a lot already, and we've seen it already, and that's get Greg going on the ground. And then defensively, they need to seed the Doege. They need to get back there, spend a lot of time back in Seth Doege's lap, knock him on the ground, do as much as they can to disrupt his timing and his ability to move the ball down the field.
Seize the Doege. That is impressive. 2nd and 8. The toss, Malcolm Brown, just back off injury, inside the 5-yard line. That's good for a 1st down. 1st and goal for Texas, inside the Red Raider 5 at about the 3.
The offensive coordinator for Texas, Bryan Harsin, this drive could not be going any better to this point. They're having a lot of success on the ground, and he said, hey, the best way we can get our confidence back, including David Ash, is to give him a strong ground game that we can back him up with, put him in great situations like this one.
Number 3 in the country in red zone touchdown percentage is Texas. Direct snap to Gray. Moves the pile. And they will mark him down shy. Just outside the 1 where it will be 2nd down and goal. Jackson Richards made the stop for Texas Tech.
And then conversely, you know, it was interesting talking to Tommy Tuberville for Texas Tech, telling us the importance of how well his front 7 would have to play against Texas. He said, hey, Texas is a typical big smash mouth team. We're going to have to play well up front, and they haven't seen it so far on this first drive.
False start. Donald Hawkins began early.
Offense, number 51. A 5-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
You know, the whole game might come down to this, Danny, red zone defense. It's hard to imagine these two offenses are not going to move the ball against one another in between the 20s. But you've got Texas at 80%, number 1 in the Big 12, number 3 in the nation red zone touchdown percentage. And just behind at 74% is Texas Tech. So these are two teams that get to the red zone and score touchdowns when they get there.
Well, Texas going with a big unit in here. 6 offensive linemen in the game.
Hand off to Joe Bergeron. And he is stopped after a gain of a yard. Now it'll be 3rd down and goal from the 6.
To me, this is where it's kind of crunch time for David Ash. It's early. He's had a couple nice throws. The offense has driven the ball. Last week, he had 2 red zone interceptions. He's going to have to buckle down here. Let's see where his confidence level and see where Bryan Harsin's confidence level is with the play call.
Also, 2 offenses that average over 40 points a game. Field goals might not do you much good. Looks for the lob, wide open, easy touchdown for Jackson Shipley.
Watch the pick at the bottom of your screen. The wide receiver on the outside. Watch him break inside. And then Shipley just runs a little wheel route to the outside. His defender gets picked or rubbed, as maybe an offensive coordinator likes to call it, for the wide open touchdown. What a great opening series for Texas.
So Texas comes into today as a touchdown underdog, but about 6 minutes in, they take a touchdown lead. Anthony Farah knocks through the extra point. And that gets David Ash off to exactly the type of start I'm sure Danny Kanell, they wanted him to begin with.
Without question, Texas has got to be pleased with that opening drive and a 7-0 lead.
Welcome back to Lubbock. David Ash gets off to the start that Mack Brown certainly was hoping for. Spoke with Mack Brown this week, and he said David Ash, Danny Kanell, this year has played about as well as any quarterback in the country up until their Oklahoma game, which obviously was a disaster all the way around. And then he played well against Baylor. So his point was he's played well in 6 out of the 8 games. Is that enough to start a quarterback controversy?
At Texas, yes. Anywhere else you might be able to slide by, but when you've got a guy named McCoy behind you also, that has to come into factor.
Terrific hang time on the kick again from Nick Rose. Forces a touchback. And next Saturday at 11 a.m. Central, the Iowa State Cyclones head to Austin to take on Texas. It's the very first Big 12 conference game televised on the Longhorn Network. If you don't have the Longhorn Network, go to TexasFights.com to check availability and ask for it from your TV service provider. The game will be seen on ABC stations in the Iowa markets. You can check local listings for more. So now can the Red Raiders answer? 3 and out on their first possession. And then they watch their defense allow the Horns to march right down the field and take the lead. Flags fly. It'll be delay of game.
For the snap, delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
That's an inexcusable penalty too. Coming off of a change of possession, you're coming out of a break. You've got plenty of time. Really inexcusable right there for Texas Tech and their offense. Seth Doege, the senior at quarterback. Got to make sure you snap that ball before that play clock winds down.
Hand off to Kenny Williams. Picks up about 4. It will be 2nd down and 11. Now our Texas Tech Impact Players brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, we talked a lot about Seth Doege having a great year. He's got to be throwing it to somebody. These 2 wide receivers, his lead guys on the outside, and defensively a big man in the middle.
Doege throws one across his body and has a connection with Darren Moore, breaks a tackle and picks up a first down. Carrington Bindum couldn't bring down Darren Moore, so 2nd down and 11 becomes about a 15-yard gain. Approach the midway point here in the first quarter. Texas on top 7-0. And a lane for Kenny Williams. Picks up 4.
It was interesting talking to Tommy Tuberville yesterday about this offense. And, you picture Texas Tech, you picture, throwing it all over the place. But he said, our goal is to go in and run it 50% of the time, which they try to do, but they give Seth Doege a lot of leeway at the line of scrimmage to check out of things, maybe to throw a quick pop pass if the run game isn't there. It's really a great situation because you should always have the numbers advantage.
Doege, a wide receiver screen caught by Stevens. Eric Stevens slipped out of the backfield and picks up a first down. That snap was a little bit high. That might be because Jared Castor just went into the game at center. Dedrick Gallington, the normal starting center for the Red Raiders, limped off to the sideline, so we'll keep our eyes on if and when Gallington can return.
That was a perfect example. Seth Doege, there was a blitz inside, so he went outside through the swing pass for a nice gain.
Doege finds his man on the edge. Eric Ward to the 20-yard line. Duke Thomas made the stop, but now the Red Raiders are in the red zone.
And this is what's driving Manny Diaz nuts, the defensive coordinator for Texas. You see the catch outside by Eric Ward, and then the poor tackle by Texas. You've got to make that tackle the first attempt.
They don't wait long, do they? Alex Torres with a drop. It'll be 2nd down and 10 at the 20-yard line for Texas Tech.
That's one of Texas Tech's favorite plays to run. They'll actually call a run with the running back in the shotgun set next to Seth Doege. They'll run a quick out on the outside, and then it's all in Daege's hands. He makes that decision. Hey, I'm either going to give it to the running back if we have the edge. If not, I'm going to flip it outside for an easy quick out. Sometimes it's easy, unless you drop it.
Here comes the blitz. Perfectly timed run blitz, it seems. And Kenny Williams able to fight his way up the middle for a couple of yards when he should have been blown up behind the line. Malcolm Brown made the tackle, but now Texas has forced Tech into a 3rd and 9 at the 19. Big play here. The Horns are showing blitz, only one deep safety. They rush 4. Doege inside the 5-yard line. He's got a hookup. Tyson Jameson Williams down to about the 2 where it's 1st and goal.
Well, it was a broken play on the outside. 2 receivers almost in the same exact position. Watch where these 2 end up, right next to each other. Both of them were open. If you're Seth Doege, you take your pick. And now Texas Tech knocking on the door.
Flags all over the place. And players that have to be separated as well.
Hey, it's a rivalry game. They're getting to know each other.
It's now the rivalry game in this state now that Texas A&M has left the conference.
Legal substitution, 12 men in the formation. Defense. Have to listen for the goal. It's 1st down.
So now it's 1st and goal at the 1, and you saw the defensive numbers, unthinkably bad numbers so far this season for Mack Brown. Manny Diaz under fire. Mack Brown has taken much more of an active role in getting his defense ready with their recent struggles. Kenny Williams walks into the end zone for a Tech touchdown. And the problems only get worse for the Longhorn defense. Texas allowed 17 points to Kansas. But in the previous 5 games, they allowed over 45 points per game. And Texas Tech made it look awfully easy, Danny, on that march.
Yes, they did. A couple of key first drives for both teams. Texas Tech answers, tied up at 7.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with Kay. Cadillac, the standard of the world. And the Dr. Pepper Tuition Giveaway. Learn more at drpepper.com.
In the 1930s, Lubbock established the first protected prairie dog colony. And Lubbock adopted it as its mascot. Apparently, out here in West Texas, the prairie dogs don't visit the salad bar too often. Those prairie dogs look well fed. They got their guns up here at Jones AT&T Stadium as they just watched their Red Raider offense march right down the field to tie the game at 7. Kramer Fife with a line drive kick, and this is going to sail through the end zone. National championship hopes will be on the line tonight in the Big 12. And a Heisman hopeful back on the field. Colin Klein and the unbeaten Wildcats of Kansas State will take on the Cowboys. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows 8. Oklahoma State, Kansas State tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Is that your Heisman favorite right now?
He is, yeah. He's been on the top there. I think he's got a pretty firm grasp on that trophy right now. The biggest question is, can he continue? I think he can stumble once and still win it, but I don't see Kansas State stumbling at all. Bill Snyder knows how to coach him up.
They close out the season against Texas. Who knows what might be on the line when that game arrives. David Ash, well protected. Hits his check down, and Joe Bergeron for 5 yards, maybe 6. It'll be 2nd down and short. Will Smith, the junior college transfer at middle linebacker, made the stop.
I'm really interested to watch David Ash early in this game. That was a great decision there. Was looking down the field, surveyed his progression. Nothing was there. Checked it down to the back. Now you find yourself in a 2nd and 5. Keep those chains in a manageable situation. It's all about decision making for David Ash early.
Ash off to a 3-4-3 start. They'll keep it on the ground here. Breaking tackles is Dajae Johnson. And Dajae Johnson has a 1st down out to about the 38-yard line. How about Danny Cannell's keys for Texas Tech?
Offensively, it's all about Seth Doege. Defensively, they have got to play well up front. It's their front 7. They're going to have to shut down Jonathan Gray, this Texas ground game. Force David Ash to beat you. You know he struggled last week. Make him win it with his arm.
Again, the speed sweep to Goodwin. And this time, a clean exchange.
Did you notice
about
the difference?
A 7-yard gain.
Did you notice the difference in the exchange? He didn't put it in there, hand it off. He gave him that little flip. It's much easier for a wide receiver to handle the football when you kind of give him that soft toss. Here's a close look at it. See him coming across? Look at a little soft. You don't get your hands in there. You don't have any kind of issues with getting it stuck. It's much cleaner for a receiver to catch that ball coming like that.
Play action for Ash. He wants to go up top to Mike Davis. And he hits it in stride. Davis down to the 2-yard line. He'll be marked at the 1.
A perfect read and throw from David Ash. Great play call. Huge 54-yard gain. Look at the back middle of the field. That's safety hovering around that 8-yard. He fights up in a huge way against the run. The middle of the field's wide open. Ash lays it out perfectly. Big throw and catch.
David Ash off to a 5-for-5 start for 105 yards here in the first quarter. And it's 1st and goal for the Horns. Bergeron at the goal line in for the Texas touchdown. 16th rushing touchdown of the season for Joe Bergeron. Bergeron trails only Colin Klein in the Big 12 in rushing scores. And back and forth we go. Texas retakes the lead.
Sure, we are definitely in Big 12 country now, right? Lots of offense.
5 plays, 75-yard scoring drive set up by the big completion from David Ash to Mike Davis, and Joe Bergeron caps it.
Look at the big bodies up front, providing some nice holes for Joe Bergeron. He does the rest. We've got a shootout underway.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football. A beautiful day here in West Texas. And college football certainly lives in the Big 12 in Lubbock as the Longhorns with an answer. And they take a 14-7 lead. Bob Wischusen alongside Danny Cannell. Maria Taylor with us as well. So far, these teams have combined for 3 trips into the red zone and 3 touchdowns. Nick Rose again forces a touchback for the 3rd time in 3 kickoffs. And that gives us a chance to look at this week's BCS standings. Brought to you by Discover Card as a flag is down, but the officials have to separate the 2 sides.
It's going to be the helmet coming off.
After the play, personal foul, face mask by the kicking team, number 11. A 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Tevin Jackson costs his team 15 yards. Mack Brown not pleased. And now a chance to look at the BCS standings brought to you by Discover Card. And right now, Alabama and Kansas State, if they can dodge bullets on a collision course. Of course, Alabama with maybe their toughest remaining test tonight, certainly, as they will try and stop the nation's longest home win streak at LSU.
Without question, they're going to have their hands full in Baton Rouge. I think they roll, though. I think this Alabama team has too much offensively for LSU.
Doege with a play-action fake. He'll run with a flag down. Slides for an 8-yard gain if the play stands, but that flag thrown from the near sideline. This will be holding against Texas Tech.
Holding, offense, number 68. 10-yard penalty, repeat 1st down.
That's a 5-yard penalty, but let's look back at the 15-yarder a moment ago. The dead ball foul called. Watch 11 in white, Tevin Jackson.
There he is. They're tussling a little bit. A little extracurricular at the end. When that helmet goes flying, I'm guessing you're going to get busted for hands to the face.
So now it's 1st and 20. And a trap handoff. Not much there. No gain. on first down. It'll be 2nd down and 20 as we go down to Maria.
Yeah, guys, right before that dead ball foul, I saw the refs talking to both sidelines about the extracurricular activity, recognizing it's an in-state rivalry, and really trying to stamp out that fire early on both sidelines, guys.
Easier said than done sometimes in a rivalry game.
Yes, it is.
Four-man rush for Texas. Doege well protected. Underneath to Kenny Williams. It'll be 3rd down and 12. He was popped by Kendall Thompson.
That time you saw Texas defensively getting a lot of depth, making sure they kept all the Texas Tech receivers in front of them. Seth Doege had nowhere to go with the ball except to his check down.
3rd down and long. Everett Gallington is back in at center for Tech. Well, that's good news for Red Raider fans, but they're behind the chains again. Manny Diaz dials up a 4-man rush. Doege with a bullet throw, and he's got a first down hook up to Darren Moore. Darren Moore is the leading receiver for Texas Tech this season. 44 catches on the year now. 11 touchdown receptions in his last 9 games dating back to last year, and a late penalty flag thrown.
It's going to be another personal foul. There were a couple guys getting after an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. Looked like a wrestling match.
The result of the play is a first down for Texas Tech. After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the offense, number 65. That 15-yard penalty, first down.
Adrian Waddle, the left tackle, was the guy who got caught. I have a feeling there was probably a little pushing and shoving on both sides. It just so happened usually the guy that gets that last blow is the one who gets busted. I think that's what happened to Waddle. But looking back to that 3rd down completion by Seth Doege, if Texas cannot get pressure on Doege, he will pick them apart all day long. They've got to generate some sort of pass rush.
Trap handoff to Sadale Foster. A gain of about 2.5. Steve Edmond, leading tackler for Texas, made the stop. Edmond only a sophomore. He's the starter at middle linebacker. And without Jordan Hicks alongside, Jordan Hicks was a junior security blanket that's been out for the last 3 weeks with a hip flexor. It's, according to Manny Diaz, forced Steve Edmond to go from being the vice president to the president. Low throw, incomplete. Crowd looking for a flag. Bindum all over Eric Ward. No flag comes out. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
A nice job by Carrington Bindum, number 23, recognizing the routes. There were 2 slant routes on the outside. He jumped them, was all over it. Pretty good pass breakup by Bindum. Of course, the home crowd doesn't feel quite the same.
Here comes the blitz. Doege. High throw, and climbing the ladder is Eric Ward. Another 3rd down catch and a first down for the Red Raiders.
Well, Texas brought some blitzers, so they try to man up outside, and that is just a phenomenal catch by Eric Ward, climbing the ladder, going up and get a ball that's a little bit high, bringing it down, securing it for the 20-yard first down completion. When you've got a guy like Seth Doege pulling the trigger and some weapons like Eric Ward and Darren Moore on the outside, it would make any defense look bad.
Doege wants the home run ball down the sideline, and it's incomplete as Darren Moore was blanketed by Quandre Diggs. It'll be 2nd down and 10. This has been some tough road for Texas Tech. This is their 5th consecutive game against a ranked opponent. That's a school record. They had only had 3 times in their history that they had played 4 games in a row against a ranked opponent.
I think it speaks volumes about the strength of the Big 12. What a strong conference this is, top to bottom.
Kenny Williams right up the gut and makes a move in the secondary down to the 15-yard line. Misdirection with the motion in the backfield, freed up Kenny Williams for a 25-yard gain.
We have so much going on the outside with these passing schemes, and then the middle of the field becomes wide open. Look at this angle. Kenny Williams has to go through, picked up a couple nice blocks from his guards, Bo Carpenter and LaRaven Clark. Nice play call as well.
Takes us to the end of the first quarter as Texas Tech trying to hold serve.
Let's have a little fun tonight.
Well, a legend here in Lubbock, Texas is retiring. That's the Midnight Matador, the 13th horse to ride for the Texas Tech Max Rider program. Has been the mascot since 2002 and is the longest tenured horse here in Lubbock, Texas, guys.
That is a great nickname, the Midnight Matador. What could be better than that? In the red zone, Texas Tech. Not much room there. Bob Wischusen, Danny Cadell, Maria Taylor. We've already seen, as we start the second quarter, over 300 yards of total offense, 3 touchdowns. It's exactly the game we expected.
Pretty much. When you come to Big 12 country, you expect a lot of offense. I think there are a couple questions that have been answered so far early. You've got David Ash playing well. Texas has got to be happy with that, but they can't be happy with the way their defense has played so far. They're waiting to see them come up with a big stop. This could be an opportunity for them to hold Texas Tech to a field goal.
Doege off a play-action fake, has to throw off his back foot. It's scooped up, no, ruled incomplete. Alex Torres tried to save it inside the 5-yard line, but the blitz coming up the middle forced Doege to throw off his back foot. It was Kendall Thompson that got pressure on Doege.
I don't care how good you are as a quarterback, if you're Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, if you're getting hit, ooh, that is close right there. It looked like he might have had his hands underneath the ball. But the point I was getting at, if you're getting pressure, if you're getting harassed, it turns you into an average quarterback. That's what Texas has to do. They've got to seize the Doege, Bob.
Replay will buzz down in time before Texas Tech gets another play off.
The note of an incomplete pass is under further review.
So they're going to go upstairs and check on what might have been a catch by Alex Torres. It looked as if his hands might have gotten under the ball initially, but as he came back to try and corral the catch,
is that when it hit the ground?
Did the ball hit the ground? Take another look. That looks pretty good there.
Got the fingers under there, but then the second bounce.
Can't tell.
That is really a close call right there. He definitely had his hands underneath it. You see the fingers underneath it, brings it up to his chest. Boy, I tell you, that's about as tough as call as you'll see. I think it looks like a catch here. It's always easier to see in super slow motion, but the call on the field was incomplete. Is it going to be enough evidence to overturn it?
It has to be indisputable to overturn the call on field. So that might be one of those classic examples of the call on the field will stand regardless of the replay.
I thought it was a phenomenal effort. Just the same to get your hands underneath there, to know that you've got to keep it off the ground.
Got to look at Tommy Tuberville a moment ago in his 3rd year here at Texas Tech. Is there a head coach in America that is more secure in his own skin than Tommy Tuberville? When you sit with him, he has a way he wants this program to be run. He wants an image that this program is to project. He's got a way of playing football. You know, he knows that Big 12 football is based on aerial attack after aerial attack. He wants to run the ball. Well, here's our decision.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
So not enough to overturn it. It will be 3rd down and 10.
Yeah, interesting talking about Tommy Tuberville. I think a lot of people said, hey, is his style of play coming out of the SEC for so long? You know, is he going to go back to this ground attack and play strong defense? And I think he's done a phenomenal job of playing to the strengths of this Texas Tech team. Their defense has vastly improved, and yet they're still able to put up huge numbers offensively.
They'll run it with Eric Stevens on 3rd and 10. And he'll only make it to about the 12-yard line. Tevin Jackson made the tackle after a gain of 4, so that will force Ryan Buston to come out and attempt a short field goal.
Which I think is a victory for Texas defensively. For them to hold Texas Tech to 3 points on this drive, I think that's got to be some sort of confidence builder for them as they move forward. In large part, they started to get some pressure on Doege.
29-yard attempt. Buston is 9 for 13 on the year. And he's got it. So Texas Tech draws closer, but Texas gets a stop on defense in the red zone. Back in Lubbock with our Pacific Life game summary to this point. A 14-10 lead for Texas. But a moment ago, they got the red zone stop, tons of yards, but forcing either of these offenses, Danny, into a field goal has to be considered a win for a defense.
Absolutely. That's definitely a win, especially for Texas, who has struggled so much. Manny Diaz wanted to get this unit back on track. How about the start, though, by David Ash? A perfect 5 for 5 on the day. Great decision so far.
Kramer Fife, another terrific kickoff and another touchback. Time now for today's Aflac trivia question. Can you name the 2 conferences that Texas Tech played in before joining the Big 12? We'll have the answer coming up shortly. One obvious, one a little bit harder to get.
See, I'm not that old, Shu, so I'll let you figure it out since you're so much older than I am.
Thank you very much for highlighting my bald spot versus yours. I appreciate it.
I'm catching up, though.
David Ash so far has left no doubt as to who the starting quarterback for Texas should have been today. A great start for 5, and he set up the last touchdown with a long completion. And he wants the home run ball again. Out in front is Mike Davis. He's got it in stride. Touchdown. A dream first half for David Ash, coming off of a miserable performance last week against Kansas.
Watch these outside guys sneak up. They poke their eyes in the backfield, and they get toasted deep. Great play action by David Ash in the running game. Mike Davis, huge touchdown play for Texas.
5th touchdown of the season for Mike Davis. He is now in the top 10.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 1, a 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the succeeding kickoff. Try for point.
I think they got him for the little slowdown at the end, saying that was a little taunting, because I didn't see a whole lot there, but the officials definitely, we talked about it earlier, Maria told us the officials going to be all over the trash talking in a rivalry game. I'm not a fan. I say let them have some fun, but officials just doing their job, doing what they've been told.
That's the 4th time we've had a personal foul or a 15-yard penalty called here in the first half. So that could obviously impact things from a field position standpoint. But Texas now has the 11-point lead. We are in cotton country down here in Texas. The Lone Star State has consistently led the USA in cotton production. And today, the annual Texas cotton harvest amounts to approximately 25% of total production in the United States. Well, so far, it's been a lot of production from Mike Davis and David Ash, and the guns up taunt from Mike Davis is what drew the 15-yard penalty, which is going to give one of these 2 teams a chance to return a kickoff for the first time.
There was a very specific rule in the rule book that says you cannot do something to provoke another team, to mock another team. That's clearly what he did.
So from about the 2-yard line, Sadale Foster on the return. Gets loose. All the way out to the 42. So a 15-yard penalty certainly results in a big change of field position as we check in with Robert Flores.
All right, guys, talk a little bit.
All right, Robert, thanks very much. 21-10, Texas has the lead. Texas Tech in the red zone a couple of times, forced to kick a field goal on their last possession. Back to work, though, with great field position and Kenny Williams. Spinning into traffic, Cedric Reed made the stop after a gain of a yard. Now, Cedric Reed and Reggie Wilson combining at that buck end position for the Longhorns, replacing Jackson Jeffcoat, who's gone for the season with a ruptured pectoral muscle that he suffered against Oklahoma. That's a big loss for the Texas defense.
You look at the combined losses of Jackson Jeffcoat and Jordan Hicks the last few games. I mean, that is a huge reason for some of their struggles. When you're forced into playing young guys, there are going to be some growing pains.
Doege under pressure. He'll go down. Sacked back inside the 35-yard line.
Boy, and how did he not lose that football? That ball was loose for a while. He was holding it with one hand while he was getting sacked. Texas Tech lucky not to have lost that ball. Okafor, top of your screen, just comes off the speed rush and then just powers his way past Terry McDaniel, and you can see why he's such a force on the outside. He's got the speed and the power that just gives those tackles fits on the outside.
Second in the Big 12 with 8 sacks on the year. Okafor sets up 3rd and 18. And here comes a blitz. They'll try and beat it with a quick wide receiver screen, and Eric Ward comes close to a first down. Tackled about 2 yards shy. Now in a high-scoring game,
They're
where you know field goals might not even help you.
Right.
You might have to score touchdowns. Do you stay out there on your own side of the 50 on 4th down?
I think playing in this league, you've got to consider it. Seth Doege stayed on the field for quite some time, thought they were going to go for it. Tommy Tuberville said, nope, we're not having that. We're going to punt it away and try to pin Texas back. But I think you definitely have to consider that in your thought process of saying, hey, the way these offenses score points, we've got to think about going for it.
This isn't 4th down and a half yard, though.
Right.
This is 4th down and a full 3 at your own 48. This is probably the prudent move by Tommy Tuberville. So Erxleben will try and pin the horns deep if he can. This is a good punt. This will be touchdown inside the 10-yard line. So it should be Texas ball at about the 8 when we return. David Ash off to a red-hot start. His team on top by 2 scores. Be a better football coach in America at the collegiate level than Bill Snyder and what he has done with that program at Kansas State?
I tell you what, he has done a phenomenal job making that program relevant again. Coaching sound fundamental football.
Jonathan Gray sweeps near side. Nowhere to go. Lost a couple of yards. Dartwan Bush first on the scene.
Now the pressure goes on to Texas Tech defensively. Can they come up with a stop? You don't want to let Texas drive the length of this field and let this game get out of hand, which it really never is with Texas Tech's offense, their ability to score points, but still just the same. It's kind of a gut check time here for Texas Tech to try to force a punt.
David Ash off to a 6-for-6 start. 180 yards and a couple of touchdowns. 2nd and 12, though, here at his own 7. From the end zone, a screen to Gray. To the 14-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
With Jonathan Gray, every time he gets his hands on the football, you kind of feel like something special is going to happen. He's got that big play ability. I got a chance to cover this Texas team in the spring at their spring game, and Jonathan Gray was still in high school at the Texas State Relays, and there was a lot of buzz about him, and you can see he's lived up to the expectations as a true freshman.
Well, he only set a national record in high school with 205 career touchdowns. Not too bad. 3rd down and 5 here, though, a chance for Texas Tech to get a stop.
See if Texas Tech brings some pressure on David Ash.
They will. Right up the middle. Ash throws one up for grabs down the sideline. And it's incomplete. Intended for Goodwin. His first incompletion ends a 3-and-out. And it was Dartwan Bush again. That got pressure.
Marquise Goodwin had the matchup they wanted on the outside. You see his reaction, but David Ash was forced to throw that ball earlier than he wanted to. He got some pressure, had to put it up with some nice air underneath it. Couldn't come down with the big play.
This has a chance to be a big change of field position unless Alex King can get off a bomb of a punt. And he hits it off the side of his foot. This is up the sideline. Might not even make it to midfield. It won't. Out of bounds at the Texas 46. Only a 32-yard punt. So Texas Tech more than flips the field. Let's answer our Aflac trivia question. The 2 conferences that Texas Tech played in before joining the Big 12. You probably knew the Southwest Conference, but how many of you knew the Border Conference? Part of the Intercollegiate Athletic Association. And cue Danny Cannell with a bald spot crack.
See if Seth Doege takes a shot at the end zone here. After a change of possession, great field position, good opportunity.
4-man rush. He'll pull it under and run. Avoids the first hit and picks up 4 yards.
Oh, and Doege's, you know, he's making good decisions with the football, but he definitely hasn't found his rhythm the way he's been playing the first part of the season. Texas doing a good job throwing him off his game so far.
Kenny Williams. All the way down to about the 26-yard line.
Oh, that's the best way to help out a quarterback, that strong running game. It works for both sides, whether you're Texas or Texas Tech, to get that ground attack.
Texas has to hustle players off the field. They might have too many players on the field at the snap. They did indeed get Malcolm Brown off the field in time. But this is the up-tempo nature of this Texas Tech Red Raider offense. Their fastest pace is cheetah. That's when they go at NASCAR speed with the same personnel on the field. Bubble screen. Down to the 21-yard line goes Austin Zuzalik. A gain of 5.
Well, early in this game, I think Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator for Texas, has done a nice job of mixing up some zones, some sit back, and kind of keep everybody in front of you, and yet at the same time dialing up some blitzes just to keep Texas Tech honest.
You see blitz in there somewhere?
That snake looks pretty intimidating to me. I'm not a fan of snakes.
Either that or the spare tire.
Yeah.
It, reversing his field is Eric Stevens. He's got a first down.
And see, for Texas, a lot of it comes down to tackling, too. They had a tackle for a loss there. Let the running back slip a couple, and he picked up the first down. I think that's the thing that's frustrating the Texas fan base is just poor tackling and poor fundamentals.
Flags down.
You saw the player
illegal
run.
Substitution, offense, 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Yeah, you saw the receiver running off the field late. Clearly a mix-up in communication for Texas Tech, and they get busted for the illegal substitution.
So from just into the red zone to just outside the red zone, 1st and 15.
How about Seth Doege? Not only is he having an incredible year overall, but in the red zone, he's got a 288.9 passer rating. That's first in the country. 21 touchdowns. Against only 1 interception.
Here comes the blitz. And Doege sets up the screen behind it. Caught by Sadell Foster. A flag down as Foster's all the way down to about the 5-yard line. If the play stands, it's close to 1st and goal, but this will most likely be coming back.
Personal foul, chop block, offense number 62. 15-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Texas Tech, missed opportunity. You would ask to have a blitz when you dial up a screen pass. You want them to get that first wave of rushers to go after the quarterback, and then you dump it over and let the running back get to that second level. Here, right in the middle of the screen, see the chop block. And officials trying to do all they can to protect players' safety. That's why they come down hard on those chop blocks, as they should.
So now it's 1st and 30, all the way out to the 36-yard line.
And if you're a quarterback here, you're just trying to chip away. Can't get it all at once. Just find your way somehow back to manageable.
They'll run it with Foster. And he'll gain about 1.5 yards, maybe 2 yards.
And the home crowd does not like a run call on 1st and 30. They're used to the air attack. And now here, not only do you you throw out your thought process as far as first down, now you start thinking about field goal. Hey, let's get some yards. Probably not going to get the first down. Let's try to get our kicker in range where it's a more makeable field goal.
They want the screen again, and this time it's snipped out by Texas. Doege with a pump fake. Keeps the play alive and gains some yards down to about the 30, and a flag comes out. Well, that might be a late bump out of bounds. Another mental error by one of these two teams. If that's a hit out of bounds that Mack Brown obviously disagrees with, it'll give Texas Tech from 1st and 30 a first down.
There is no foul on the play for a late hit out of bounds. The action in question has been deemed legal. It's 3rd down.
That's a quick appeal that Mack Brown won.
They won the appeal there. I think we all thought it was going to be a late hit. You see Mack Brown. Usually you see him pretty reserved. You see the animation with which he's arguing over on the sideline, trying to keep his coaches in check as well, who were furious at that late hit call.
So now, instead of a personal foul, it's 3rd and 24. And Doege will check down and play for the field goal. To about the 23-yard line or so goes Kenny Williams. So that will bring Ryan Buston out to attempt a medium-range field goal from what was once 1st and 10 at the +16.
That's a good play call as well by offensive coordinator Neil Brown. Taking that decision out of Doege's hands, saying, hey, we're just going to give you a simple little check down pass and make this field goal more makeable.
Certainly well within the range of Ryan Buston. His long on the year 50 is from 41. And he just does curl it inside the pole. So Tommy Tuberville still might be upset that the flag was picked up on the late hit out of bounds on the far side of the field. Let's take another look.
He wants to know what the heck happened, wants to have a chat with the official. Here's a look, end of the play. The same thing. When does he step out of bounds? That's a pretty good no call right there. I think the officials got that one right. There's Tuberville furious.
Tommy Tuberville might be careful.
Yeah, he's got to be real careful. He's going to get tossed.
He might pick up 15 yards of his own. Now the crowd loves it. So Tech has to settle for 3 once again, and they trail by 8. Back-to-back trips to the red zone for Texas Tech, and a couple of stops on defense for Texas. That time more self-induced by Texas Tech. Bob Wischusen, Danny Cannell, and Maria Taylor watching Tech, Danny, go backwards by virtue of penalty as much as Texas getting the stop. So it's now 21-13. Kramer Fife, high kick. That forces DJ Monroe to take a knee again.
I'll tell you what, Bob, it is a team game, but there are some great individual matchups taking place today. How about this one between Carrington Bynum, the defensive back for Texas, versus Eric Ward, the wide receiver. Check out these guys going at it routinely. This is almost on an every down basis. Just having at it. Gotta love it. That's what rivalries are all about. Getting after it every single play.
So the much maligned Texas defense has only allowed 1 touchdown here in the first half to the #1 touchdown scoring offense through the air in college football in Texas Tech. David Ash has been terrific so far as well. Wide open, easy dump off to DJ Grant. Grant's got a first down and more. Out to the 42-yard line. A gain of 17.
Well, that little layup pass is all a result of the running game that Texas has been able to get established.
Pardon me, Bryant Jackson on the catch there for Texas.
Look at everybody go after the play fake. Which allows a nice little easy flip pass for David Ash. For DJ Grant on the outside. Excuse me, Bryant Jackson. He did it too, Bob.
Good field position again for Texas. Near midfield with a first down. Plenty of time to go before halftime. Ash in trouble. Does a good job to escape. Keeps his feet and picks up close to 8 yards on the scramble. Dartwan Bush pushed him out.
Beautiful job by David Ash. Not only avoiding that pressure, but making a good decision, getting back, getting some positive yards. Brian Harsin talked about the dilemma for David Ash, and he said he had one message for him all week long, and that was do your job. Don't try to do anything spectacular. Just go out there and execute the offense. Perfect example of that on that last play.
Jonathan Gray. Close to midfield, a gain of 1. It will be 3rd down and 2. ESPN College Football is available anytime, anywhere, on your computer or mobile device via WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. Big play and a chance here before halftime for Texas Tech, and the crowd senses it, trying to get a 3rd down stop.
A wildcat formation for Texas. Try to pick this up on the ground.
Shipley in motion. Jonathan Gray keeps it himself and converts. Blinds out about 5 yards on 3rd down and 2.5.
How's that for confidence in your offensive line? Go with the wildcat formation with Jonathan Gray in the backfield and just trust those big boys up front to get some movement. That's exactly what they did. Tommy Tuberville knew it was going to be a challenge for his defensive front seven, and you can see Texas in this first half is taking advantage of that physical overmatching power they've got up front.
Down the sideline, another perfectly thrown ball by David Ash. Jackson Shipley out of bounds at about the 22.
Boy, a beautiful play call off a play action pass and an even better throw from David Ash. Watch what happens here. They're going to clear out the outside and run a little wheel route right up the side, and that's where David Ash is going to find Jackson Shipley. Look at the touch and accuracy with David Ash throws that. Got good protection. Great execution on behalf of Texas.
Gain of 24 has Texas in business again. Ash looking end zone to Shipley. Off his fingertips and incomplete. Although that was another well-thrown ball by David Ash as we check in with Robert Flores.
All right, Bob, here's what's...
All right, Robert, thanks very much. Texas with a lead of 8, looking for more. To Jay Johnson. Speed handoff up the middle for a gain of about 3. So Texas is in the red zone again, but now they face 3rd down and close to 7.
Yep, now Texas Tech's defense with an opportunity to hold Texas to a field goal. Texas taking their time here, getting to the line of scrimmage. It's like they're going to burn a timeout and have a conversation about this, realizing the importance of this 3rd down.
That's exactly what Mack Brown is telling David Ash, trying to get the attention of a sophomore quarterback. Wants to take the play clock all the way down to 1, call a timeout then, run the 3rd down play, and try and make sure that this is the last realistic possession of the first half for either offense.
Yeah, very smart decision there. Smart decision on behalf of Mack Brown and Texas to try to give Texas Tech's offense as little time as possible if they do get to touch the ball again.
What surprises you the most about what we've seen so far here in the first half?
You know, probably how well David Ash has played today. I mean, reading the papers, talking to the coaches, hearing about this so-called quarterback controversy, I really wanted to see how David Ash would respond, and we've seen him make some phenomenal throws. He's played like he did the first part of the season, and of course he had a little slump, but it happens to quarterbacks. I mean, you're just going to have it. It's the challenge is how do you overcome that adversity, and so far David Ash has done magnificently this afternoon.
And this is Texas football. This is the pro team treated like a pro team by the media in their market, and everything in Austin is built around this football team. And Mack Brown talking to us about the media attention, the negativity this past week. He says he's been through it before. He worries about his players, but he's been fired 5 times over the last 15 years.
Keeping an eye on Jackson Shipley. That's kind of been his go-to guy early in this first half.
3-man rush on 3rd down for Tech. David Ash nowhere to go with the football. Being chased. Bullets one to the sideline. It's caught, but incomplete, out of bounds. Jeremy Hills had it in his hands, but forced out. So Texas Tech plays coverage. They rush only 3, and they get the stop.
Well, David Ash was looking for Jackson Shipley. Wasn't there. Made a good job just finding another throw. Here's David Ash. Look at him. Shipley was over to the left. He's looking. Where is he? Where is he? Wasn't there. Comes back, has to get off it. Almost made a spectacular throw and catch, but was out of bounds.
So Anthony Farah from 37 yards out. And flags down. Delay of game.
Delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Now this makes things a little more interesting. Anthony Farah is only 1 of 2 kicking on the season. Nick Jordan's 3 of 7. So field goal kicking has not been good for Texas. The long field goal for either of the 2 place kickers for Mack Brown is 38 yards.
Kickers are a mental bunch, too. You push them back 5 yards, it kind of gets in their head a little bit.
Well, when your long is 38, going back to 42, That's more of an issue. And now a timeout was called from the Texas Tech sideline.
First charge timeout, Texas Tech. 30 seconds in lane.
So Anthony Farah not only has to deal with an additional 5 yards, but now he's got an extra timeout to think about it.
Although, if you're Texas Tech, do you want to ice the kicker
I know.
on a field goal before halftime when there's still 1:14 on the clock, and you could use all 3 of those timeouts for your offense?
These guys go fast enough. I don't think they need 3. I think 2 timeouts is plenty for them. We'll see if it comes back to haunt them. I'm of the mind, hey, why not? You got 3. You don't want to take them all to halftime with you.
I would go the other way, though. I wouldn't plan on taking them all to halftime, but I'd want 3 timeouts for my offense to run the 2-minute drill before halftime.
They've got cheetah speed.
So after Texas Tech spends a timeout, 42-yard attempt. It would be a season long for Texas. And that is smoothly done by Anthony Farah. So it's a 10 or an 11-point lead, rather, for Texas. We'll step aside. Back in West Texas at a sold-out Jones AT&T Stadium. Bob Wischusen here with Danny Cannell and Maria Taylor. And it has been a back and forth and maybe slightly lower scoring first half than we expected, with 1:09 to go before halftime. Texas Tech with 2 timeouts. About to get the football back, trailing 24-13. And Nick Rose has been a touchback machine so far today and continues that, bombs it out of the back of the end zone. So all of the accolades coming into today certainly belong to Seth Doege. David Ash, in arguably a quarterback controversy, although it was quickly snuffed out by Mack Brown. He named him as starter shortly after the Kansas game. But how about the bounce-back performance, even, Danny, in the midst of that, by Ash here in the first half? It's been really impressive, and a lot of that was started. He got some great help from Jonathan Gray on the ground, some good play calling to get some easy, quick passes. And then from there, once he got his confidence, he's looked like the David Ash we saw the first part of the season when he was tearing up the country. So Seth Doege goes to work, certainly with time enough on the clock for this offense to move down the field. Doege off his back foot, wide open over the middle. He's got Eric Ward. Ward all the way out across the 45 to about the 46-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 45. That's a gain of 20. Boy, Seth Doege had to get rid of that ball in a hurry. Was getting a lot of pressure with 2 timeouts. Texas Tech, as you pointed out, are they going to need that third one? Swing pass tipped, intended for Eric Stevens, but knocked down at the line by Cedric Reed. That's one advantage you have when you run an up-tempo offense all game long. Really nothing changes in a 2-minute drill. Maybe the quarterback has to be a little bit more aware of throwing the ball away and getting everybody hustled up, but everybody should be used to going at this up-tempo. Doege bullets one this time to Darren Moore. He picks up 8 yards. That'll keep the clock rolling, down to 39 seconds to go, and that forces Texas Tech, before 3rd down and 2, to spend one of their 2 remaining timeouts as we inch closer to Texas Tech maybe needing all 3 timeouts here before halftime. You can't wait to say I told you so. I know it. You know, I think, interesting talking about the quarterbacks, too. I think the other kind of storyline here is Seth Doege. He's having a decent day, but hasn't had the big touchdown passes. And I think a lot of that credit has got to go to Manny Diaz and this Texas defense, which they've done a good job mixing things up, getting some pressure on Doege, and not giving up that big play, not giving up the big touchdown pass, keeping everybody in front of them. Well, all of the just lopsided, awful numbers that Texas's defense has allowed so far this year in the Big 12. You got to keep in mind the numbers that Big 12 offenses routinely put up. 4 of the top 6 passing offenses, 5 of the top 20 total offenses, and 7 of the top 13 scoring offenses are all in the Big 12. And now they'll run it here on 3rd and 2, and Kenny Williams gets blown up behind the line, and you've only got 1 timeout left. Do you go for it on 4th down?
Well, no, you can't go for it on 4th down, because if you don't get it, you're going to give it back to Texas with phenomenal field position. They get a field goal. They're just going to let this clock go down. It's like everybody's going to be content, both sides, content to let this go to halftime.
Now they'll call a timeout with 10 seconds to go in the first half. So now Texas Tech is out of timeouts. It's 4th down and 6. I can't imagine they would have called that timeout to punt. So do you try to call the timeout, get a quick hitter, the clock stops with a 1st down, you run down and spike it and maybe try a field goal? I guess if you do that with only 10 seconds to go and you fail to convert on 4th down, Texas only has enough chance for, maybe a Hail Mary. So maybe Tommy Tuberville is trying to play for a quick hitter and a long 3 before halftime. I'm not really sure what other logic could be used to explain the timeout with 10 seconds to go.
I'm a little confused myself, too, as to why they did that. Maybe they're trying to get it down to where they can maybe try a Hail Mary, but the average play takes 6-7 seconds. You're going to be giving it back. Maybe you think if you try a Hail Mary or a hook and ladder or something, it will take the 10 seconds. You go to...
Well, if you run your guys down in the 15 to 20-yard range, the clock would stop if they give themselves up, and maybe you can spike it and try a field goal. Let's see. Seth Doege shoots one to the sideline. Bobbled ball, incomplete. So now there's 5 seconds to go. That was 4th down. So now Texas takes over on downs, and they can try a Hail Mary.
Yep.
So it seems that's what Tommy Tuberville was trying, to see if he could get a sideline ball before halftime and maybe try a long field goal.
That, to me, was not worth the risk there. If they get that, if Doege gets sacked back there, you're going to give Texas great field position here. You've given Texas an opportunity for that Hail Mary. Here's one more look at that catch, which was so close to being caught.
And should have been caught.
Yeah, couldn't corral it in there towards the end of that play when he was losing his balance, which still would have been a monster field goal had he caught that.
So Texas will have a chance to run one play here from midfield. And remember, Texas starts the 3rd quarter with the ball as well. David Ash will try and reach the end zone. Batted around, and it falls incomplete. So Texas Tech will have to regroup at the half. They only put 13 points up against a defense that was one of the most maligned in America. Mack Brown's team has a 2-score lead at the break. The halftime report is coming up next. ESPN College Football returns to Lubbock, just about set for the start of the second half. Texas with an 11-point lead over Texas Tech. Bob Wischusen, Danny Cannell, Maria Taylor with you here in Lubbock. And a game that might be a little bit more low scoring than we expected, but maybe the biggest factor in the first half, as we said, red zone defense. One time down, Texas Tech stopped by the Texas defense. Another time down, they stopped themselves with penalties. Bottom line, though, is a much maligned Texas defense is forcing the Red Raiders to kick some field goals.
Without question, holding this Texas Tech team to only 13 points has got to be a success for Manny Diaz and company. The thing they have to do now is maintain that intensity level, their execution throughout the second half, because if you let down for a split second, Seth Doege and company can beat you and be back in this game in a heartbeat. So that's going to be the challenge for Texas.
How about adjustments for Texas Tech offensively? What do they need to do to free up some space to make some plays?
I think they could do a little bit better job of 2 things. One, they've got to protect Seth Doege a little bit better. He's got knocked around just a little bit. He's used to having good protection. The other thing is to mix in that running game a little bit more, establish that ground attack to open up the play action and just kind of open up the field a little bit.
Texas won the toss to start the game, so they deferred their option to the second half. So not only did they get a defensive stop before halftime, they now begin the 3rd quarter with the football. And no player was under more fire this past week from a fan and media standpoint than David Ash. And Danny, what a first half he had.
He played spectacular. Great decisions with the football. Again, has to keep it up, maintain that level of play.
Six yards deep, DJ Monroe takes a knee. Kramer Fife forces another touchback. Let's take a closer look at our Pacific Life game summary. And David Ash and Mike Davis, big hookups This one for 75 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, Mike Davis is their big play threat. Got behind Texas Tech's defense a couple of times. That one there was a huge touchdown pass for David Ash. But you give him good play calls, let him get his feet underneath you the way Brian Harston did, the offensive coordinator. That's what set him up for success in the first half.
A timeout called by Texas before the first play of the second half.
Seconds.
These drive me nuts. I know they drive the coach nuts. I mean, you've had all halftime, a long halftime, to talk about this first drive, to talk about the way you're going to come out, what you're going to do. How can you not get lined up correctly and have everything smooth? That you know that drives Mack Brown nuts. But he realized the importance of getting a good play called. Said, hey, it's worth it. We have to take the timeout.
Let's take a look at some first half numbers. 286 total yards in the first half for Texas, the majority through the air. Texas Tech with only 61 yards rushing, and that against a run defense for Texas that came into today 108th in the country, giving up close to 220 yards per game.
Yeah, that's where I think they've got to get Kenny Williams involved in the run game.
Play action fake for Ash to start the second half. He's got running room. And he'll run for a first down. 12-yard scramble for David Ash, and the good decisions continue for the sophomore quarterback.
Yep, recognized that Texas Tech was back in coverage, had nowhere to go with the ball, so he kept it on the ground. And that's another thing. I think both these teams, I think you can get caught up in the passing game in the Big 12, in this league, but you can't abandon the run. Remember the start that Jonathan Gray got off to? Joe Bergeron had some nice carries as well. Don't abandon that because you're able to throw the ball. Keep it balanced.
Joe Bergeron hunts for a little room and picks up 3.5. Gang tackle just shy of the 40-yard line at the 39. It's a gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7. Will Smith made the stop, the junior college transfer. He's an interesting story as well. He, starting cornerback Bruce Jones, running back Sadale Foster, all came from Riverside Community College as a 3-man junior college transferring class, and all 3 have played pivotal roles this year for Texas Tech. Speed sweep to Marquise Goodwin again. Not as much there. 1.5 yards at best.
That's the third time we've seen that speed sweep. They did try to mix in a little play-action pass off of it one time, but Texas Tech obviously made the adjustment. I think they're very aware now of where Marquise Goodwin, when he comes in motion, that kind of puts their antennas up, and they say, hey, we've got to watch that quick sweep.
Third down and 6.
Goodwin got a little banged up on that play. Let's see if Texas Tech brings some pressure here. They've got to try to make David Ash uncomfortable in the pocket.
A little bit of confusion again for Texas. And now flags fly.
Wow, that was a late flag. They're going to call him for offsides. I thought he got back in time.
Unless he made contact.
Offside, defense, number 10. Coming into the neutral zone, causing an offensive lineman to false start. It's a 5-yard penalty, which will leave us short of the line to gain third down.
But not short by much.
No.
Now instead of third down and 6, it's third down and 1.
Huge difference here. They go with the Wildcat again. The same formation they went with before with Jonathan Gray in the backfield.
Shipley motions. Gray ought to keep it. He might not have gotten there. Let's see where they spot the football. Will Smith again in on the tackle. Texas thinks they made it. Texas Tech thinks they got the stop.
From here, it looks like he's short. And he did not get a lot of movement up front. It was the exact same play they ran before in a short yardage situation.
They won't even measure.
No, they are clearly short.
So Texas Tech has forced them into fourth down and a foot. Now, will you snap the ball here as Mack Brown keeps his offense on the field on fourth down and less than 1? And they're on your own side of the 50, up 2 scores.
I mean, you've got to be able to QB sneak this with all the big guys up front.
Will they snap it? They will. And boy, did they change the line of scrimmage. How easy did Texas make that look?
Well, you saw that coming from a mile away with that 4th and inches. You've got to have confidence in Dominic Espinosa, Mason Walters, Trey Hopkins. Those inside 3 for Texas, able to get that push. All David Hash had to do was fall forward. Mason Walters, the right guard for Texas, actually was a teammate of Seth Doege in high school, right up the road. They're going to keep that ground. Look at the big unit in for Texas.
Play action off the big unit up front. They'll throw it in the flat, and it's incomplete, intended for Ryan Roberson, the fullback. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Yep. Sam Aguavin was there in coverage.
A little deception from Brian Harsin, going with what you would expect, a run formation, trying to slip a tight end deep on a corner route. Texas Tech, pretty good job of recognizing that and getting back into coverage.
Good job by Aguavin, who was a basketball player in high school, but he wasn't getting any scholarship offers. So someone suggested football. He played football only his senior year, had 118 tackles, and all of a sudden the scholarship offer started rolling in. Ash up the seam, in stride. He's got Shipley for a 1st down with a flag down back behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense number 78. 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Well, Texas Tech brought a corner blitz. He timed it up perfectly on the outside. It was number 24, Bruce Jones. And the tackle who got called for, Josh Cochran, recognized it, but it was almost too late. He had to get some sort of hold on the corner blitz. See the corner coming, top of your screen, 78 recognizes it. Hey, the only way he could get him was to grab him around that jersey. They busted him.
6th penalty against the Longhorns. Sets up 2nd down and 20. Ash underneath. Nice move made by Mike Davis. And he gets back the 10 that the Longhorns just lost. Bruce Jones made the stop on Mike Davis. Now it will be 3rd down and long, though. 3rd down and 9.
Here we go. How does David Ash respond? He's made good decisions all game long. So a 3rd down and 9. This is sort of a dangerous territory for an offense.
Tech brings a blitz on 3rd and 9. Ash down the sideline, nothing there. Mike Davis pulled up at about the 41, and Ash threw the go route. So a miscommunication. And at midfield, Texas Tech gets the stop. King with the intentional end-over-end kick. Zuzalik lets it bounce, and it does exactly what that kick is designed to do. Stop like a pitching wedge, backs up to about the 8-yard line. So Texas Tech ball when we return deep in their own end. A perfect day for football here in West Texas. In Lubbock, the Red Raiders trying to get something going offensively from inside their own 10-yard line. Seth Doege. Play action from the goal line. Slings one up the seam left side, and he has a connection with Eric Ward. Out to about the 21-yard line, a gain of 13, and a Tech 1st down.
It'll be interesting for me to watch if Texas defensively can continue to slow down Seth Doege and company, force them to field goals. And it'll be interesting to watch Seth Doege. How does he respond after a slower than usual 1st half?
Underneath, in stride, he's got Ward. That's a gain of 13 more. And another 1st down. No touchdown passes so far today for the nation's leader with 30 touchdown passes coming in. Speed sweep to Sadale Foster. Another 1st down as he leaps for a gain of 11.
When you run an up-tempo offense the way Texas Tech does, so much of it is about momentum, finding that rhythm. You never really felt like Texas Tech could find it. I mean, they're used to getting big chunks of yardage like this drive has started.
That's a gain of 15 more to Darren Moore.
And see how they're just rattling off. They're getting 10, 15 yards a clip. This is what they've been doing all year long. And what Texas was doing a great job of stopping. So now the ball is back in Texas's hand. What are they going to do to slow it down? They've got to start bringing some pressure. Because if you let Doege sit back there in the pocket, he will do what he's been doing on this drive.
A possession that began at the 8-yard line. Every play on this possession so far has resulted in a first down. They're 4 for 4. They haven't had second down yet. Doege, play action, under some pressure, buying time. Throws it to the sideline to Darren Moore. Was already out of bounds. So,
and I mean, the first 4 or 5 plays of that drive, you saw Doege very much in rhythm, was sitting back there surveying the field, throwing on timing. That time, Texas brought that blitz that was kind of expecting, and you saw the result. It threw them off of their rhythm, and a good result for Texas defensively.
Dage's now up to 208 yards passing on the day, 3 of 4 on this drive. Second down and 10. And they'll hand it to Kenny Williams. But one thing I would definitely give Texas's defense credit for today, Danny, they have been more physical than we've been led to believe they would be. Certainly the numbers speak to this Texas defense struggling mightily against the run, but a lot of those chunk run plays that we've seen Texas give up this season, they have not given up today for the most part.
Not so far. They've done an outstanding job up front. I mean, the thing is, they've got the talent. They always have the top recruiting classes. They've got big bodies. They just need to play better. They need to grow up, too. They're very young.
Third down and 8. 3-man rush. Doege floats one to the sideline. It's low and incomplete. So now it's 4th down and 8 at the +41. Tyson Williams, the intended receiver, couldn't scoop it up.
They're staying on the field, too. They are going to go for this 4th down. Very much in that gray area of what do you do? They're going to keep their offense on the field. That throw right there, I looked like Doege did not get his weight into it. Kind of gave it a little bit of a half effort. Didn't look real confident in that.
Well, Manny Diaz played coverage on the last snap, rushing only 3. Now he shifts that defensive front on 4th and 8. They'll bring 5 this time. Doege able to beat the blitz. Darren Moore on 4th down to the 16-yard line. And a big first down conversion for Tech.
Well, you gave Seth Doege some time, gave him good protection. He was surveying the left side of the field, came back to his right. See him looking left, comes back to his right, sets his feet. Perfectly placed ball to Darren Moore. There's your first down conversion. It's a lot of confidence in your offense.
Kenny Williams turns the corner. Grinds out some yards inside the 15. Let's see where they mark him out.
And in this game so far, this has been where Texas has buckled down. The Longhorns had a lot of success forcing Texas Tech to kick field goals. Can they do it again?
Coming into today, Texas Tech 74% inside the red zone touchdown percentage. Today, they've been there 3 times, and they've kicked 2 field goals. 10th play of the drive here.
I feel like Texas had the most success when they've blitzed.
Nothing there on 2nd and 6. It'll be 3rd and long. Eric Stevens turned back outside the 15-yard line. Quandre Diggs made the stop for the Horns. So now it's 3rd down and about 8.
Texas shuttling in a whole new crew of defensive linemen. Getting some fresh bodies in there to try to generate that pass rush. Showing blitz. Will they keep it up there? Will they all drop out?
They're coming. Doege on the slant. Knocked away. Eric Ward, the intended receiver, perfectly timed by Carrington Bindon. And he could play aggressive because he knew that ball was going to be coming out with the blitz coming.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. With Texas blitzes, Doege's got to get rid of it. A beautiful play by Carrington Bynum. That's the 2nd breakup he's had on a slant route. If I'm an offensive play caller for Texas Tech, I'm thinking, hey, we've got that slant and go dialed up. They're just waiting on it. Wouldn't be surprised if we see that at some point down the road.
So that matchup between Carrington Bynum and Eric Ward that we showed you in the first half, that was fun. 4 trips to the red zone for Texas Tech and 3 field goals. It's a one-possession game, but it's been a frustrating day offensively for the Red Raiders. In the United States, and it's a great spot to visit if you're here in Lubbock. Seth Doege again stopped in the red zone. That's 3 times now that Texas has forced a field goal attempt. It's still a one-possession game, but Texas Tech, who averages 40.5 points per game coming into today, 12th best in the country, held to 16 so far by the Horns. Marquise Goodwin will take a knee. And a reminder, next Saturday at 11 a.m. Central, Iowa State hits. So now David Ash and Texas back to the offense. Start off with a cutback run by the true freshman Jonathan Gray. He was tripped up. It could have been a big gainer. It turned out to be only a 4-yard gain.
That play could have gone a long way had he not been tripped up right at the end there. He's been pretty quiet since that strong start. But you can see when he gets the ball in his hands, just has that electric speed about him.
You have to figure one guy that's not quiet's his dad.
That's right.
James is in the stands here, and he is the Texas Tech all-time leader in rushing touchdowns, but his son opted to go to Texas. Draw play to Gray. Right up the gut. About 4 yards shy of a first down. Well, Jonathan Gray, when he was young, with his dad, James, he got dressed in some Red Raider gear. Mac Brown actually told us that this was a picture that James Gray sent to him to kind of poke fun and say, you know what, my son might be a Longhorn, but he's got Red Raider blood. But Tommy Tuberville was funny, talking about the recruiting advantage that Texas has over the other Texas schools. Said, you know, his dad's an All-American at Texas Tech. We couldn't even get a visit. Jonathan Gray loved Austin so much. He wanted to go be a Longhorn. 3rd down and 4. 5-man rush. Ash well protected, but it's batted down at the line. He had DJ Grant wide open coming across the middle, and he couldn't elevate the ball enough. Terrence Bullock knocked it down as we check in with Robert Flores.
All right, Bob, AT&T All-American Player of the Week nominee. It is Louisville quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Had a career-high 5 passing touchdowns as Louisville remains undefeated. They took care of Temple today. You can text VOTE to 34763. Results announced Thursday on ESPN.
All right, Robert, thanks very much. The punt. Zuzalik with a nice return. All the way out to about the 43-yard line for Texas Tech. So David Ash, who began the game, 9 of 10, 1 for his last 7, gives it back to Texas Tech. We might stop by there after the game. One possession game, Texas on top of Texas Tech, but the Red Raiders, great field position, back to the offense. Trap handoff, Kenny Williams picks up about 2.5 to 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and long. Bob Wischusen, Danny Cannell, and Maria Taylor here in Lubbock for a game that's been a little bit more Big Ten than Big 12 in terms of the scoreboard and how these defenses have played.
I tell you, it's fun to watch, a great matchup. You've got 2 teams having at it, seen some offensive fireworks, but the defenses have been the story of the game too.
Texas brings a blitz. Doege beats it for a first down. Darren Moore on the slant. Seth Doege took a shot. Alex Okafor had a free run. Gain of 13.
I'll tell you what I've been liking is the quarterback play. Even though they haven't had the big, there was one big pass to Mike Davis from David Ash, but other than that, they've been making really solid decisions with the football.
Underneath again. Good physical run after the catch. for 7 yards. Tyson Williams on the reception.
But Tyson Williams took a pounding there at the end of that run, trying to get some extra yardage. 4 or 5 Longhorns came in, got a little shot on him. I think the key for Seth Doege is just to remain patient with his offensive scheme. He's used to getting those touchdowns, got to keep making good decisions.
Doege throws it behind his intended receiver. He had Darren Moore, and he had some happy feet back there as the pocket wasn't necessarily collapsing on top of him, but everywhere he turned, it seemed like there was a burnt orange and white jersey starting to at least get in his field of vision.
Anytime you're in that pocket, you've got that mental clock that goes off in your head that says, hey, I haven't been hit yet, but it's going to happen soon. I've got to get rid of that football, and I think that's what you saw taking place there. And now Texas Tech spreading Doege out wide, showing their own version of a little Wildcat.
On 3rd down and 3, Eric Stevens lines up to take the direct snap. He's got it. He'll go right up the middle, and he gets stood up. Second effort brings him close to the first down, but he didn't pick it up. Kenny Vaccaro was there to make the stop. So now where do the Texas Tech Red Raiders go? You got to think on 4th down and 1. They'll probably go for it at the 32.
And this will be interesting because the last 4th down they went to was a 4th and 8. This one, I think, is actually harder for them because they're not used to grounding out those hard-fought yards on the ground. They like putting the ball in the air, so it'll be interesting to see if they can physically move Texas the way that Texas has been able to move Texas Tech on the flip side.
And there's some confusion here. Doege's not sure if he's supposed to split out wide and they want to go Wildcat again. They did reset the play clock. Now it's down to 10. And it looks like Texas Tech's going to have to call a timeout.
Yes.
So Tommy Tuberville takes some time off the clock before spending his first time out here in the second half. Well, NASCAR's chase is down to 3 races left. Jimmy Johnson leading the closest race in chase history, heading to the Lone Star State. Just up the road in Dallas with 3 races remaining until history is made and a champion is crowned. The NASCAR chase for the Sprint Cup Series at Texas tomorrow at 2 on ESPN. So where would you go here if you're Texas Tech? 4th down and a half yard. They tried Wildcat on 3rd down and about.
Hey everyone, I'm meteorologist John Honore live.
8th in the country against the run.
They are going to split this out. We'll see if they go inside. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they try to get this to the outside this time.
Doege's the decoy to the top of your screen. Eric Stevens takes the snap. It's a reverse. Sadale Foster on 4th down and a yard has plenty more. How about that call? Out of a Wildcat on 4th down and 1. Gain of 15.
And that's what I was talking about, getting to the outside, letting that speed take over. I did not see this Texas Tech offensive line pushing that Texas defensive front around. So you counter that with speed. Showing the sweep to the right, pitching it back for the reverse, and then you let the speed take over. It's a race to that first down marker.
Doege underneath. He's got Kenny Williams. And he's turned back at about the 11-yard line after a gain of 6. Steve Edmond went face mask to face mask with Kenny Williams.
Some great battles going on today out in the field.
So here we are again. For the 5th time today, Texas Tech is in the red zone. They've kicked field goals on their last 3 trips.
That's been dialing up the pressure.
Seth Doege under pressure. Sets up the screen. Stevens has it. Touchdown. Touchdown reception of the season for Eric Stevens. The 31st touchdown pass of the year for Seth Doege. And now Texas Tech will try and tie it. They'll go for 2. Loud pass, back of the end zone. Knocked away.
Well, another solid Another solid play by Carrington Bindum.
Let's go back and look at the screen for the touchdown against the aggressive Texas front.
Here comes the pressure. You're going to bring pressure. Watch that come. And then it's a great play call by Neal Brown, because when you get the blitz, you want to pass, you want to throw a screen. You get the back. He's able to slip out. Incredible catch by Eric Stevens to go down and get that ball. Then he was able to take the rest on his own, but a nice job of play calling. Here's the look. There's the little stutter move of the inside, but Bindum stays right with him. The ball was actually caught. Bindum did a phenomenal job of batting that ball and rustling it loose.
So with 1:35 to go in the third quarter, Texas Tech goes for 2 to try and tie the game. And, you know, purely on the chart, Danny, going for 2 there is, I guess, a decision most coaches would make. But you wonder if not coming up with that point might be something they'll come back and be haunted by later in the game.
Yep, Tommy Tuberville and company going for the tie, trying to tie it up unsuccessfully.
Well, both of these place kickers have been touchback machines today. Here's Kramer Fife to send it deep again. This one might be returnable. Goodwin thought about it, made the decision to come out, and it looks like a good decision. Actually only picked up about 2 more yards than he would have had he taken a knee. So Texas has it back, maintaining the 2-point lead in BCS Countdown on ESPN and ESPNU. On Sunday, your first chance to find out what the BCS standings are. It'll come your way starting at 8:30 tomorrow night on ESPN, and another half hour at 9 over on ESPNU. All our experts will take a look at the matchups, the key wins and losses from the weekend, and reveal the BCS standings. Here they are coming into today. And right now, Notre Dame in some trouble against Pitt. David Ash lobs one down the sideline. Just a little too far for Goodwin to catch up to. It'll be second down and 10.
David Ash wishes he could have that throw back. Goodwin had a step on the outside. Could put a little bit more air under that ball. Let Goodwin run under it. You might have had a huge play. And right now, all of a sudden, David Ash, watching him, he had such a strong start, has really struggled as of late. He's 1 for his last 8 after a 9 for 10 start. You've got a quarterback who's been struggling with his confidence. You always kind of look at him and say, hey, where is he right now at this moment?
Jay Johnson comes back to join him in the backfield. Red Raiders show a blitz, and they might have been the neutral zone. That's a free play. Jackson Shipley makes the catch, but that was offsides against Texas Tech. Looked like Bruce Jones was coming with that same perfectly timed
Offside.
blitz.
Defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Saw it work earlier. That time he got a little too nosy.
And to me, Tommy Tuberville's face says a lot right there. How can you jump off sides there? Let it work. You know, if it plays out and you're able to get to the quarterback, great. It's not like you're going to gain that much of an advantage if you time it perfectly.
That brings Jonathan Gray back in as the tailback out of the pistol on second down and 5. Gray takes the handoff. Moves the pile for a yard or 2. A big third down coming up after we check in with Robert Flores.
All right, Rob.
Under 30 seconds to go in the third quarter here in Lubbock, and the crowd going wild. Third down and 3. They'll keep it on the ground. Johnson cut down behind the line. It's Bruce Jones again, and that'll take us to the end of the third quarter. We head to the fourth with Texas Tech a chance to take the lead. We start the fourth quarter in Lubbock. Texas forced to punt because Bruce Jones just made this play on third down.
Oh, great play from Bruce Jones, the cornerback coming off the edge. See him flying up through there, grabbing around, nice wrap up in open field. That was a big stop for Texas Tech.
Alex King kicks it away. And a nice kick. Zuzalik from his 10. Makes the first man miss and gets a block. Another block as Zuzalik pounded out of bounds at about the 27-yard line.
You kidding me with some of these hitting going on right now? There were multiple big hits on that play.
Don't turn your head on punt coverage right there. A big block.
Well, you have to keep your head on a swivel when you're covering those punts.
Kendall Thompson is down and injured, so they are checking him out as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. And Danny Cannell, some of our numbers through 3 quarters.
Yeah, that David Ash one kind of jumps out. You the hot start and then struggled since then. Of course, Texas Tech's red zone struggle has been a big storyline of this game. You know, it's interesting. You hear about the Big 12 and the lack of defense, but both these teams have come to play defensively today.
We'll step aside for an injury timeout here in Lubbock. Kendall Thompson very slow to get up. He's still woozy after being blindsided on that hit on the punt return. So while the caregivers for Texas tend to Kendall Thompson, a reminder that the Disney ABC Television Group will designate Monday, November 5th, 2012 as a day of giving across its network and syndicated programming, encouraging tens of millions of viewers to help those impacted by Hurricane Sandy. ESPN is proud to join ABC to help raise donations. To donate, text ABC to 90999 to give $10 or go to redcross.org/ABC and you can give even more. And this is something that touches my life very personally. I'm from New Jersey and have a lot of family and friends who are still without power, those who have lost their homes completely, flooded out. I can't even begin to express the thanks from our area to everyone around the country to giving what they can, because this was a natural disaster, the proportions of which we have never seen, certainly in our area.
Yep, the importance is to keep giving, too, because it's not going to be something that's going to go away. There's going to be a need there for quite some time throughout that Northeast corridor.
And we'll keep our fingers crossed that Kendall Thompson is okay, as he was hit hard by Will Smith on that punt return. Let's take another look. And this arguably helmet to helmet as Will Smith blindsided, and
I don't know if there's any argument. That was pretty clear, helmet to helmet.
So that certainly quieted the crowd as Kendall Thompson heads back up to the locker room for Texas. So we'll try and get a report on Thompson as soon as we can.
That's a big loss for Texas defensively, too. Their Will linebacker now in the locker room, which is already a young defense. Now he's forced into another backup role.
Seth Gagey, high throw to the sideline. And that's good for a catch in front of Kenny Vaccaro by Tyson Williams. It's a gain of 9.
That's something we've seen all day. Those short underneath passes are there for Texas Tech. Texas, the Longhorns have done a great job of not giving up that big play behind them.
Cutback run on 2nd down and 1. Kenny Williams lost a couple of yards. Now it's 3rd down and 3.
That's the other thing they've been doing a phenomenal job of, is not giving up any ground yardage, not giving up those big chunks of yardage to the Texas Tech running game.
This is 3rd down and a long 2.
Well, I tell you what, I just feel like they've got that slant and go dialed up. Here's the matchup, bottom of the screen. You see Carrington Bynum.
Gagey up the seam, almost intercepted. Sagging back in coverage was the middle linebacker Steve Edmond, intended for Eric Ward.
Oh, Steve Edmond, great play. Almost was able to make that incredibly acrobatic catch. Here's Deggy, saw the window. Great job getting one hand up on the ball. Steve Edmond had to grow up quickly. Loss of Jordan Hicks. He's had to become more of a communicator in the middle of that Texas defense. Really has come of age.
So he picked up 9 yards on first down, and it results in a 3-and-out. Ertzleben, wobbly spiral. Fair catch in traffic, called for by Biggs, ran into his own man, and a flag comes out. Down to the 11-yard line is where it's down. Let's see the penalty, though. I'm not sure that Quandre Diggs was bothered by a Red Raider as much as he was by one of his own blockers, unless it's kick-catch interference. If it is, that's a big penalty.
That is a big penalty. I think that's what they're going to call, too.
Kick-catch interference, number 42. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, timeout.
That's going to move Texas all the way out to about their own 42 to 45-yard line, depending on the spot. Let's take another look.
See him, got to give him a yard. Definitely came way too close to Quandre Diggs. Got to give him his space.
That was a good call. And study, obviously, what plagues folks in this area of the country. Back to the offense for Texas, protecting a 2-point lead. Jonathan Gray down the sideline. He's got a first down, a gain of 13. Maybe not the game we expected. What surprises you the most to this point?
You know, for me, this second half, the way it's played out, you know, David Ash was off to the hot start early on. Then he struggled as of late, one for his last 8. I think they need to get that guy. They just saw the ball, Jonathan Gray, the true freshman in his first start, get him a little bit more involved, try to get some chunks on the ground, set up that play action pass, which they had a lot of success with, to Mike Davis with that 75-yard touchdown pass.
Only a couple of yards on that carry for Jonathan Gray. Bob Wischusen, Danny Cannell, and Maria Taylor here in Lubbock. And this has been a terrific football game, and not necessarily the shootout, end-to-end, touchdown after touchdown game that we expected from two teams that average over 40 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the other surprise, is that the score is not 44 to 42.
And Texas Tech get a stop. Gray has a running lane, a first down, and then some. Down to the 32-yard line of Tech.
But a couple nice blocks up front for Jonathan Gray. Number 51, Donald Hawkins. Fullback Ryan Roberson got in the lead there, too. But that's what they need to do. Get Jonathan Gray involved, give him some ground carries. Give him a breather now. Get him fresh for the remainder of this game.
Up to 68 yards rushing after he had 111 against Kansas last week. Joe Bergeron, his turn. He finds a little cutback lane. Powers his way inside the 25 down to about the 24. A gain of 8. Well, there are national championship hopes hanging in the balance for Kansas State. A Heisman Trophy possibly on the line as well. Colin Klein takes center stage. Oklahoma State, Kansas State tonight. It's Saturday night primetime football presented by Windows 8 at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC.
Kansas State has to be careful. They don't let happen to them what looks like is going to happen to Notre Dame.
Straight running plays on this drive so far for Texas. It'll be third down and short after we check in with Robert Flores. So a great game in Morgantown and a terrific game here in Lubbock. Third down and short.
They can sneak it if they want it.
They'll try exactly that. And it looks as if they're going to put David Ash on the quarterback sneak right on our first down line. And it looks as if they're not even going to measure.
Pretty interesting here, the way the play calling has developed into the, it's really become clear that Texas is establishing the run game and keeping the ball out of David Ash's hand. Sooner or later, they can dial up a play action and try to go over the top, especially since they've had success. You know the linebacker safeties are going to get involved in that backfield.
Plenty of time on the play clock. Flags down now. This will be a false start, it looks like.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Mason Walters, the guard up front, jumped off sides. That happens a lot, especially when you're checking at the line of scrimmage. Maybe you make one check and then it gets quiet and a guy thinks you're going to go up and snap the ball, and instead you might check to another play. Those linemen get antsy up front with those 300-pounders getting ready to come after you.
They'll run it again on 1st and 15. And Gray makes it to about the 25-yard line for a gain of 2. 2nd down and 13. Coming up, Blake Dees made the stop.
And what does this say about Bryan Harsin, his confidence in his offensive line's ability to move around Texas Tech's defensive line? 7 plays, 7 straight runs. Here's his favorite target right there.
Has to throw on 2nd down. Back pylon of the end zone. Caught. Mike Davis. Touchdown.
Here's Mike Davis on the outside. Runs a little bit of a stutter. Doesn't get much hesitation from the defensive back. Then it's the end of the play. Misplayed by number 4, Derek Mays. Mike Davis able to come up with another big touchdown catch from David Ash.
And it's a classic second guess. But because earlier Texas Tech went for 2, this point after glances off the upright to make it a 2-possession game with 9:14 to go. So Texas Tech now needs a couple of scores if they're going to come from behind. Texas on top by 9. It had been a very quiet second half for David Ash. Got off to a great start, struggled, but time to take a look at today's Good Hands play brought to you by Allstate.
What better than the last touchdown catch by Mike Davis? Here it is. Went up, caught it at its highest point. Mike Davis, the 2nd touchdown of the day. Of course, he had the 75-yard bomb from David Ash. And that one in a critical situation after we saw 7 run plays in a row. Finally had to take to the air.
4 catches, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Mike Davis. He leads Texas in all 3 of those categories, up to 6 touchdowns on the season. So now down by 2 possessions. Texas Tech has to have some points on this next drive. Another deep kickoff. Well, coming up a couple of nights from now on ESPN at 6:30, Monday Night Countdown begins our coverage, served by Applebee's, and then it's Monday Night Football at 8:30. Certainly no player in the NFL right now with their backs more against the wall than Michael Vick. The Eagles head to New Orleans to take on Drew Brees and a Saints team trying to save their season as well. It's Monday Night Football, Philadelphia and New Orleans, 8:30 Monday on ESPN. Trying to save this game now is Seth Doege. Back to work, down by 9. To the sideline, has a connection. Eric Ward. And he is out of bounds with a Texas Tech first down.
I think the challenge for Texas Tech and Seth Doege in particular is going to be to keep that patience. You know, you want to get that touchdown pass, you want to get the big play, but Texas has not been giving it up all day. You've got to stay patient. If it's there, take the shot, but if not, do not force it.
Up the middle to the 2nd level, and a first down for Kenny Williams. Gain of 11. How many Texas fans, after watching, especially what they've seen in Big 12 play so far this season, thought their defense would only give up 22 points to this point today? Doege swings one in the flat. Is that a backwards pass? Kenny Williams dropped it, and the officials blow it dead.
And I think what a lot of Longhorn fans are watching right now is saying, hey, there's still 8.5 minutes left. Can they keep this up? Keep stopping, holding this Texas Tech offense.
9 Neither team has turned the ball over today as well. Trap handoff and a spin move. Not much there for Eric Stevens. He lost a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 11.
That's been a difference, too. Texas defensively able to win the battles on 1st and 2nd down so that Seth Doege and company have been in these 3rd down and long situations, which is so much tougher on a quarterback in an offense.
Texas Tech is 3 for 12 on 3rd down. This might be 4-down territory as well. Down by 2 scores with 8 minutes to go. Doege. He's got a 1st down connection to Eric Ward. That's a huge play for Texas Tech.
And Doege under some pressure, too. Had to step up, ignore the pass rush, keep his eyes focused down the field, which he did beautifully. But again, not the big play.
A lot of time left with 2 timeouts, and certainly the college clock rules buying you some extra time on 1st downs and out-of-bounds plays. 4-man rush. Doege, comeback throw, incomplete.
Yeah, a little miscommunication there on the outside. And, you know, I agree with you when you said that about the 2-down territory on 4th down. The way Texas has been able to run the football, you got to feel like Texas Tech has to make the most of these opportunities when they have the football, because if they go scoreless, if they get held, Texas could very well eat up the majority of what's left in this game.
You do the math, you wonder if Texas Tech gets more than 2 possessions. Kenny Williams breaking tackles. He's got a 1st down. When it looked like he might be caught near the line by the Longhorns.
All the talk has been about the passing game and the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, but both these running backs, Kenny Williams for Tech and Jonathan Gray, they've had some pretty good games of their own.
Josh Turner and Peter Jenkins had a chance to bring him down near the line of scrimmage and couldn't do it. Doege to the sideline through the hands of Ward. That ball seemed to sail just a bit on Seth Doege.
Oh, it absolutely did. They brought the corner blitz. Texas did. But Doege was able to set his feet, just misfired, missed a little bit high. And at this point in the game, you can't afford to misfire. Every throw becomes that much more crucial.
Well, Tommy Tuberville told us yesterday, if Seth Doege is good, we're good. If he makes a big mistake, we probably can't rally from it. We put so much pressure on him. He's everything. Doege under some pressure now, over the middle, maintains his composure and his eyes downfield and comes up with a big completion. Darren Moore out of bounds close to the 10-yard line.
Well, you saw it, Shu. You talked about him keeping his composure. They wanted to take a shot here. Play action pass. Doege winds up, wants to go deep, sees it's not there. Finds his outlet, and a big play for Texas Tech again. Not the touchdown play, but still moving that ball down the field.
To the 10-yard line, so it is 1st and goal. Play action. Doege, bullets one, end zone, flag down in the end zone. It's incomplete, but that'll be against Texas, it looks like, in the end zone.
Wow, when that ball was let go, I thought Doege threw an interception. He put it in the only place where his receiver had a shot at it. But Texas.
Pass interference, defense, number 6. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic 1st down.
Here's a look at the end of the play. You see number 88, Marcus Kennard, coming out of his break. You see a couple Texas defenders there. There's the wrap around the waist. Clearly a pass interference from Texas. But a good ball location from Doege, keeping that out of the defense's way.
So now it's 1st and goal at the 2. Lob play. End zone. Fought for. 1. Eric Ward incomplete. Carrington Bynum was there.
Again, Bynum with a nice pass breakup on the outside. We've seen him several times. You see him running step for step with Eric Ward. These guys have had a tremendous battle. A little bit of hand checking going on, but that's just pretty solid defense all the way through the ball and swipes it out. But if you're a young defensive back at home watching, Carrington Bynum putting on a clinic on the outside today.
2nd down and goal. Kenny Williams Breaks a tackle. Flag down. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. This might be coming back.
Holding. Offense number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Boy, what a costly penalty for Texas Tech. Not only do they lose the touchdown and pull them back, but now they're further away, and they've got to utilize more clock. You've got to think that's going to come into factor here late. Not left side of your screen.
It looked as if the right hand of Deborah Gallington was up around the neck, I think, of Desmond Jackson. Got a fistful of jersey, and it costs his team 10 yards. 9th penalty for 85 yards against Tech. So now it's second down and goal, back at the 12, and now Doege has to call a timeout. That is a killer for Texas Tech, as they are now down to 1 timeout remaining. And we'll step aside. I'll check that. It looks like we'll stay right here before second down and goal. And you start to do the clock management math. We actually will step aside. We'll come right back in a moment. Welcome back to Lubbock. Bob Wischusen, Danny Cannell, Maria Taylor bringing you a heck of a football game between the Longhorns and Red Raiders. Some costly mistakes on this drive, though, for Texas Tech, costing them a timeout and field position. Second and goal at the 12. Doege checks down underneath. It's caught by Alex Torres, and he fights his way to about the 6-yard line, where it will be third down and goal. But Texas Tech down to only 1 timeout remaining. Had to spend one a moment ago, and a holding penalty turned first and goal at the 2 back to field position outside the 12-yard line.
Really a costly penalty for Texas Tech. Put themselves really behind the 8 ball here. Now this crucial third down. Got to find a way to somehow get this ball in the end zone.
5.5 minutes to go.
Texas with 3 bigs in the game. A lot of nickelbacks.
Here comes a blitz. Doege well protected. Extending the play. Flips it back to the end zone. Throws it away. And Tech had it first down and goal at the 2. Now they'll have to settle for the field goal of the 2 scores they need, with DeMarco Cobbs coming with a lot of pressure on Doege.
Well, they ran 3 defensive linemen in the game, but actually did bring some pressure with the linebackers. Were able to flush Doege from the pocket. Really, his only option there was to throw that ball away.
Ryan Buston looking for his 4th field goal of the day. This, a chip shot, you would think, from only 23 yards out. And it's blocked! Carrington Bynum gets the 7th block pick this year for Texas.
How about the game from Carrington Bynum? The balls he's had on the outside as a defensive back, and then coming up with that block. It doesn't get much bigger than that for Carrington Bynum. Comes right off the edge. The speed rushes right off the outside. Times his jump perfectly. Gets that left hand on it to bat it down.
Mack Brown's team is #1 in the country this year blocking kicks. That's the 7th time they have blocked a kick. The 2nd field goal block to go along with 2 point-after-attempt blocks and 3 punt blocks. And now Texas has the football back, and all of the air has come out of Jones AT&T Stadium.
Jonathan Gray,
the crowd's starting to leave. And also, because of having to spend some timeouts earlier, Tommy Tuberville's team still down by 2 possessions, having gone for 2 and not gotten it. And they only have 1 timeout left.
Yeah, the biggest issue for them is going to be getting their offense back on the field. Their defense, the last couple drives, have not been able to slow down this Texas rushing attack.
So Texas in no rush now, as David Ash takes the play clock well down inside of 10 seconds. Jonathan Gray has a first down. That'll shave at least 2 to 2.5 more minutes off the clock. This, in effect, an elimination game in the Big 12. Texas still has a matchup at the end of the season coming with Kansas State. But with Kansas State, Oklahoma State all ahead of these 2 teams in the standings, you get to 3 losses, you're gone in the Big 12. So this is, in effect,
Well, I tell you,
a mid-season playoff game.
Oh, without a question. And you knew Mack Brown knew it as well and wanted to see how his team would respond at this point in the season.
Jonathan Gray all the way out to about the 40-yard line, a gain of 7 on first down inside of 4 minutes to go. And let's remember how big of a win this is for the Longhorns. This is a team that hasn't beaten a ranked team in their last 9 tries. They've lost 10 out of their last 11 against ranked opponents. It's a team that, since they played for the national title back in 2009, is 19-15. And Mack Brown's been under a lot of heat from the Texas faithful. End around. Jay Johnson has a first down and more. Let's go back to Robert Flores. Well, it doesn't look like we're headed to double overtime here in Lubbock. Finding room to run again is Jonathan Gray. And he's close to another first down.
How about the afternoon Jonathan Gray has had, the true freshman in his first start. You can see the playmaking ability he's got. Close to 100 yards on the day. He'll probably go over because you know he's going to get a couple more carries. 5.4 average. But how about Mack Brown? You know, you talked about the heat he was under. It drives me nuts that coaches that have had as much success as he had. I mean, you look at him the past 7 years, his bowl record, he's been to 4 BCS bowls in the last 7 years, a 3-1 record in those with a national title, and yet they're calling for his head. I don't understand it.
And off to Jonathan Gray, not much there. And you have to think that Tommy Tuberville might use his last time out here. As we take a closer look at the day Jonathan Gray has had.
Well, it started off early. They featured him getting him the ball to kind of give David Ash some confidence. And, man, he found some plays, caught this screen pass for a huge gain early on. And then later was really getting some nice holes from his offensive linemen. And you can see this running back is going to carry on in the tradition of some great Texas Longhorns running backs.
3rd down and 3, and they'll go for it out of the Wildcat formation. Gray up the middle. He's got a first down, and that'll end it. Now even the one timeout that Texas Tech has is a moot point, and Texas is going to win this game on the road. And Mack Brown, you don't think there's a little bit of relief for Mack Brown?
I mean, I don't think he was that excited after the national title victory. I mean, that shows a lot about the stress that you're under as a head coach, no matter who you are. That is a look of pure elation, relief, satisfaction, being able to silence your critics.
Well, he's had 9 10-win seasons in his 14 years in Austin. They had 2 10-win seasons in the 14 years before he arrived. As you said, played for a national championship in 2009, won a national championship in 2005. Does that not earn you the right to fight your way through a rough patch of 2 or 3 years, rebuild it, knowing what a great recruiter he is and how Austin basically recruits itself? They have their pick of talent. I mean, Mack Brown, you have to think with a young football team here, he might get them back to where they were if he's given the time to do it.
Without question. They got a lot of young talent. David Ash, just a sophomore. Jonathan Gray, true freshman. Defense is littered with a bunch of underclassmen. This team is going to be tough. They just need to grow up, and they grew up in a big way this afternoon. Big road victory for the Longhorns.
The first time in 9 games against ranked opponents that Texas has come out a winner. And their defense, as big a story today as David Ash and the blocked field goal was. Truthfully, Texas won this game in all 3 phases.
Without question, dominated all 3 phases of the ball. You mentioned it. Carrington Bynum blocked that field goal attempt late to really seal this game. Really well played by the entire unit.
Maria Taylor is down there with the winning coach.
Coach, you said that this game represented a unique opportunity for your team and a turning point in the season. What do you say about this game and what your team was able to prove today?
Really proud of the guys. Give Texas Tech credit. Tommy had them ready. It's always tough when you played in Lubbock, but didn't like the 3rd quarter offensively. Really liked the way we responded in the 4th quarter as a team. And
you said the response of David Ash in this game was also going to be very important. How would you assess his play and decision-making today?
I think David played great. We were really balanced. We hit some big balls in the 1st quarter. It's always tough when you don't play as well in the third, and give them credit for some adjustments. Really proud that the guys came back and played well in the fourth.
All right, thanks, Coach. Bob?
All right, Maria, thanks very much. And congratulations to Mack Brown. That's a big win for the Texas Longhorns. Again, our final, Texas over Texas Tech, 31-22. Now let's head back to the studio.
When the lights come up on the college football final set, it's just like Death Valley, Tiger Stadium on a Saturday night. The intensity rises. The place where opponents' dreams go to die. The dreams aren't dead until the final breath is gone and the zeros are on the clock. And for Alabama, Lou, they believe their dreams live as long as A.J. McCarron's at quarterback.
Championship teams find a way to win when everything looks lost. That was the case for Notre Dame today, but they won. Join us and we'll show you how that happened.
Four-leaf clover.
Well, the Ducks and the Wildcats took care of business on Saturday. We're going to debate on final verdict. Is the Heisman Trophy race just down to 2 players? Stick around for College Football Final.
College Football Final is presented by AT&T.
In terms of championship implications, it has become the most significant rivalry in the sport. Alabama and LSU. LSU defensive lineman Benny Logan has said there are a lot of scars from that BCS championship game. You'll see it on the field. What you saw was Les Miles fake a field goal in the second quarter. The hat said he wished he'd left that call in his hat. Probably a good one. And as a result, Alabama took advantage. A.J. McCarron ran in for a touchdown. Lou, what happened on the coverage and how did McCarron take advantage?
Well, what happens is they're man coverage and they rush 4. You can see they're covered. There's nobody to protect the quarterback. When you're playing that type of coverage, you cannot let the quarterback scramble.
Alabama had a 14-3 lead, but LSU had come back to make it 14-10, and the hat tries another trick, an onside kick. Mark, what did you think?
Well, I thought it was a bad decision at that time. You had the momentum. You just scored. Why would you do this at that time?
Alabama hadn't picked up a first down in the second half, but they did on this drive. They were marching, and then a miss on the exchange from A.J. McCarron and T.J. Yeldon. Big turnover. LSU got 2 of them from Alabama, and boy, was Zach Mettenberger money.
On fire. This is the best game he played his entire career, and it came at the right time against Alabama.
Threw for 298 yards. LSU up by 3, and then trying to make it a 6-point game, Drew Alamo. Just a bit outside. Now Alabama's out of timeouts, and McCarron trying to lead a drive for the ages. Finds Kevin Norwood. He takes it to the 44-yard line. Alabama's on the move. It is the ESPNU Game of the Week, Monday night, 8:30 Eastern. You'll want to watch it again. Now, later in the drive, screen pass Lou to T.J. Yeldon.
And very well executed. Then the missed tackle here goes in all the way for the touchdown.
28 yards for the gamer. Number 1, Alabama escapes Death Valley, dreams intact.
I got the best teammates in the world, the best O-line. I mean, the best defense, the best coaches. And everybody fought, and that's what Coach said. He always preaches a 60-minute ball game, and everybody hung in, and I mean, it was an unbelievable win.
It's tough because you know that there's a game there you could have had one. Some sick guys in that room.
What we talked to our team about is that we would have to overcome adversity in this game. So when the things went bad and they went sideways, we kept saying to them, we got to overcome adversity now. And, hey, A.J. did a great job on the drive. We made some big plays, and it's a great win, man. Great win.
On that drive, Saban said afterwards that he would always remember that drive. And you want to talk about things going sideways? For Alabama's offense, LSU had knocked it sideways. In the second half mark, prior to that last possession, A.J. McCarron had completed 1 pass, no yards, got nothing, and then things turned around in the final 93 seconds.
Well, he did it when they had to have it. And if you look at Alabama throughout their history, this is going to be known as the drive, the best 2-minute drive in Alabama history, because everybody stepped up that had to offensively. A.J. McCarron was magnificent, but look at the offensive line. Terrific job of keeping those defensive pass rushers, Kiki Mingo and Sam Montgomery, away from their quarterback, and terrific job of execution by the wide receiver. Everyone was on the same page. This is why you practice 2-minute drills, folks, just for this occasion. And look at the screen pass to the freshman, T.J. Yeldon. Terrific execution, but what a great call by Doug Nussmeier, the offensive coordinator. But the offensive line and the offense came through, and that player right there, A.J. McCarron, he didn't have a good game, but he was fabulous on that last drive when he had to be.
What can you say? Outstanding. But let's give an awful lot of credit to LSU, their staff, and their players. They outgained Alabama by over 100 yards. Alabama was successful on 1 third-down conversion. Alabama had 2 turnovers. LSU had none. You sit there and you say, how did we lose a football game? You lost it to a team that refuses to lose. But I agree with you on the offensive line. But the fumble going in by Alabama is what turned it around. They were down on the 7-yard line. They don't fumble it. Looking at the film, he probably would have scored on that. They'd have been up 21-10. But it's crazy how the momentum goes back and forth. But Mettenberger, boy, I take my hat off to you. That was one great performance, and I've always been on top. The LSU receivers, they dropped past anybody. They played outstanding tonight. LSU was a better football team. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? LSU won. I mean, LSU was a better football team. Alabama won.
It was gut check time for Alabama. Their backs were against the wall. This is the sign of a true champion. You're on the road. You're at Death Valley. They've won 22 consecutive games. Les Miles, 36-1 at night. They were down. They had to come back in the 4th quarter at the end of the game and make plays when they weren't making them in the second half. That's the sign of a true champion. That's why they're defending national champion.
And, you know, let's not underestimate, too, the impact from an emotional standpoint. LSU has been waiting for this game for 10 months. An opportunity. I mean, you'll never atone for losing a championship game. Desperately wanted it. Hostile environment. Fought back when Alabama got them down. I agree with you, Coach. LSU played great, but so too did McCarron down the stretch.
No doubt. But let's also remember this. The crowd, the noise, and the last drive was unbelievable poise.
And, you know, Mark, you also, as you see McCarron's numbers, how he performed when they were trailing against LSU, much better, even much better on 3rd down completions. Had his touchdown pass to Yeldon when they were trailing to give them the lead. You talked about the offensive line, and you love to talk about the smarts of the offensive line. You know who was one of the guys suggesting the game-winning touchdown pass?
Has to be an offensive lineman, Reese.
Barrett Jones. That's why he's a National Scholar athlete, too. McCarron certainly went next level in that drive. Next level game in South Bend between Pittsburgh and the Fighting Irish. Everett Golson leading his team, but Pitt at a 10-6 lead. Tino Sunseri, who is it? Holtz! It's a Holtz! Bedeviling Notre Dame! J.P. Holtz scoring for Pitt.
Notre Dame, people said Holtz had beat Notre Dame a lot of times.
This was a great play by K'Wan Williams. He was called for pass interference, and it was a brutal call. Correct. It was on 4th down. Pitt should have gotten the ball back. Notre Dame took advantage. T.J. Jones.
And a terrific job of execution there on the quick screen. T.J. Jones takes it in for a score. That was a terrific call by head coach Brian Kelly.
Now in a 20-12 game. Williams, who had been called for interference, picks it off in the end zone, and it looks as if Pitt was going to get out of there, but they couldn't capitalize on the turnover. Look at the great offensive line protection. DeVaris Daniels, Golson finds him, and now Notre Dame's on the doorstep, down 8 and trying to save itself. And Golson scrambling and finding Theodore Riddick.
Well, this is his feet keeps this play alive. Golson put Notre Dame on his back and carried that football team.
But he still needs another play. They're still down 2. 2:11 to go. Everett looking, wants to throw. Now he doesn't want to throw anymore. Stretching, and he's in there, and we're tied at 20. Both teams would trade field goals in the first overtime, so we go to the second overtime. Here's the game winner, except it's not. Sierra Wood fumbled. Pitt gets it, and now Kevin Harper, terrific kicker for the Panthers, 33 yards to win it. The ghost of Rockne blew it just outside the upright, and now Golson goes back to work to Riddick.
Just a great protection there. The offensive line from Notre Dame was outstanding in their protection.
And they did just enough to get Golson in. Manti Te'o and the Irish remain undefeated, winning in triple OT.
We did not play as well as we needed to. We had key turnovers. We didn't fit plays the way we fit. We didn't tackle as well. It was not our best effort. Now, having said that, we played a team that played extremely well today, and we found a way to win. And that's a good thing.
Will you be pulling for USC, LSU, or Oklahoma State at all tonight?
I mean, maybe I should say the politically correct, yes, you know, we really hope that. I don't really care about that. And everybody says I should care. I care about my football team. I care about the getting better. We're really just focused on ourselves. We can't worry about all those other things.
That is the absolute perfect approach. It's exactly what all coaches do, and I know we on the outside can't understand it. That's because we on the outside are here to dissect things like that. Big picture. And big picture, Notre Dame, computers love them. They were tied for first in the BCS computers this week. They need help in the votes. They need to close some of the gap in the votes against Oregon, against Kansas State, particularly against Oregon. Triple overtime against Pitt's not going to do it. But the thing that will help them, and will help them for the future, finding a way to win behind that young quarterback, Everett Golson, who was really the key to the game.
And a lot of times to win championships, you have to win ugly. They won ugly today. Their backs were against the wall. They found a way to win. But Everett Golson carried this team on his back. He rushed for 74 yards in this game. The majority of it was in the second half. But the key was he kept plays alive in the pocket with his feet. He moved around in the pocket, kept plays alive, ran the ball when he had to, threw the ball down the field. A quarterback that does that can keep plays alive, you can always win with a young quarterback like that. And he did that today when they had to have it. Because there are situations in that game, if he doesn't keep the play alive, throw the ball, run the ball, Notre Dame's in big-time trouble in this game because they were behind this game.
I thought Pitt played outstanding football, but it also became obvious they just don't have the foot speed on defense. They couldn't get pressure on Golson, and they couldn't keep him from running. He made all the critical plays on that. And if you win a championship, you got to be lucky sometime. And Notre Dame was lucky today. The missed field goal, that young man's an outstanding kicker, Mr. Harper. But Notre Dame didn't block it or anything else. He just happened to miss it, and you got to be lucky. Give my credit to Notre Dame. They did a tremendous job, hung in there when everything looked bad.
You know, I said in the highlight, and I meant it, by the way, that was a brutal pass interference call on that fourth down. However, good teams, when they get a break, as Notre Dame did, they take advantage of it. Teams that want to pull upsets bounce back from getting a tough call go against them. Pitt did not do that. Notre Dame gets another close win, and I've said this several times this year about the Irish. You keep winning these close games, and everybody says, oh, they don't beat anybody badly. Sooner or later, it becomes a strength. And it was a strength today because they were down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. You said it during the game. Pitt hopes to win. Notre Dame thinks they're going to.
I tell you, this is the greatest thing that happened to Notre Dame because you say they're a team of destiny. For a couple of weeks, I've been saying they're a team of destiny. Just things are going to happen. Notre Dame believes that now. Now they go to BC, then they play Wake Forest, then they go to Southern Cal. They're 12-0. They have a legitimate chance for a championship.
You say sooner or later it becomes a strength. Well, it's a strength for them now, but sooner or later it'll put them in a position where they'll lose a game because of playing close games. And they're going to face USC at the end of the season. Even though USC right now is a team that's having their troubles, USC can throw the football on anyone. It has 2 of the best wide receivers in the nation. So that's a game I want to see if they want to play that one close.
Notre Dame will win that one.
Still to come on college football final. Number 2 was very good, but do we have a problem spot now for the Wizard and Optimist? We'll tell you how they got pushed a little bit by the top offense in the country. Oregon just scored again against USC. Kenyon Barner is loose again against USC. USC put up some numbers too. Wait till you see this one between the Ducks and the Trojans and the beast of the SEC East. Florida had a little sleepwalking issue and then had some hope snatched away late as they watched and rooted for the Dogs. Florida even had trouble celebrating touchdowns at times. And how about this helmet sticker suggestion? Old Brutus getting busy with their fans. King Hyde, Carlos Hyde, had a big day against Illinois. Good enough to get a helmet sticker?
College Football Final is presented by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
Oregon and USC. Oh, Chip's got them in all white in the first half. They've been kicking people to sleep in the first half. Now, I want you to keep an eye on the clock here. See how long it takes Oregon to score. They have 33 touchdown drives this year of 2 minutes or less. You saw the pass from Mariota to Huff, and you saw Kenyon Barner. You'll see plenty of Kenyon Barner in this highlight. Josh Huff with another catch. Colt Laierla coming back from injury. They use that big physical guy in a lot of different ways. And then who are they going to throw it to? Who dat they going to throw it to? Dat. Who dat? Who dat? Who dat going to cover dat? DeAnthony Thomas. $1:44 off the clock, 5 plays, 75 yards. Ducks rolling. Now they're up 21-3. Looks like a blowout. And then Matt Barkley to Marquise Lee.
Well, just a great throw here and great catch. This was a tremendous offensive display by both teams, but Oregon is unbelievable.
The ensuing Oregon drive. Mayday, I know you'll love the offensive line, but watch the receivers of the Ducks do some blocking for Barner.
Outstanding fits. Their hands are nice and tight. Look at that double block right there. That's a terrific job by the wide receiver. And Kenyon Barner just going to take and use his speed, pick up a huge gain for the Ducks.
Nobody has ever run wild against the Trojans the way Kenyon Barner did. He had 169 yards in the first half, bouncing to the edge. Oregon was rolling. Ducks up 27-10, but Barkley, not noted for being nifty in the pocket, buys some time. Robert Woods, touchdown. Barkley, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks in the first half. It's only a 10-point game at halftime. Marquise Lee hadn't fumbled. Might have been even closer. Silas Redd gets in, and deep in the third, Fight On is within 3. Fight on, run on. Kenyon Barner. He's like a regular run-on sentence. What a performance, Luke.
Just tremendous performance. Anytime a team gains 300 yards on the ground, that's a great effort, let alone an individual.
Josh Huff hauls one in. He had a 100-yard receiving night. Mariota threw for more than 3 bills. Now it's 55-45. We still got time, and there goes Kenyon. 321 yards on the ground and 5 touchdowns, both records against the Trojans.
I said it a long time ago. When I heard Matt Barkley was coming back, I threw up. And that was the reason why, because I didn't want to see him again. You know, we couldn't afford to have a drive where it was like, hey, you know, we'll just chalk that one up.
Just, you know, the offense, we did a great job. You know, from the offensive line to the receivers to the quarterback, we all just did a great job communicating and executing what we needed to.
Great job? What do you mean great job? Unprecedented job. 730 yards they put on the Trojans. Nobody's ever done that. 62 points. Nobody's ever scored more points against USC than Oregon scored in this game. And Barner burned them big time, going for 321. 273 yards before he was touched.
That's the offensive line getting it done.
He might not even be sore on Sunday. Well, he might be tired from running so far. Yes. A lot of sprints. Had 11 carries of 10 yards or longer. 62-51. Ducks win it. Well, it's hard to envision anything the Ducks did on Saturday against USC that would cost them votes in the human polls, and they're sitting at number 2 in those 2 polls. But it's Kansas State in the BCS formula that's sitting in the 2nd spot, trying to hold its position and perhaps work its way finally into a national championship game. Have worked their way into the highlight lounge against Oklahoma State. The roles reversed, guys, from last year when it was Kansas State going in to Oklahoma State and trying to knock off their national championship hopes, but that was a tight game, and it looked like Oklahoma State was going to give Kansas State the business all night. Early on, the freshman Wes Lunt to Austin Hayes, Pokes up 7-0. Later in the first, Colin Klein would find Tyler Lockett. Beautifully thrown ball, Mayday.
Nice job on the pump fake. Got the defense to bite, but what a perfectly thrown pass. He takes it down inside the 10-yard line.
K-State would score, tie it at 7. Joseph Randall, he didn't have much room to run, and he puts the ball on the carpet, Lou.
Well, they had 5 turnovers during the course of the football game, but Kansas State just plays very smart football, and they are outstanding in the kickoff return.
Look at these guys. Tyler Lockett's in the top 15 in the country in kickoff returns. He goes 100 yards for the score. And Kansas State, 24-10, firmly in control. But, you know, Justin Gilbert is a great kickoff return man for Oklahoma State, so they don't kick it to Justin Gilbert, but they do kick it to Desmond Rolling, and here he goes, Mayday.
What a terrific job of following his blockers, weaving through, and then taking it straight down the field to play and returns it for the touchdown.
There were only 2 safeties. Need 3.
Need 4 if they're going to keep running to the end zone and hit their head on a goalpost, which is exactly what Alan Chapman's going to do after he picks off the freshman Lunt. Lunt's got a lot of talent. He's put up big numbers, but he's missed 6 weeks with a leg injury, still learning the ropes. He threw into coverage several times. This could be a key play for the season. Look at Colin Klein's wrist. You see it right there? Did you guys see it?
Yeah.
It was bent back. Yeah. Now, Klein's a tough cat. We know that. He stayed in the game and led the drive the rest of the way. This is his only touchdown of the night. It matched the season low And Kansas State had a 38-17 lead at that point. You see the score as Klein is watching the rest of the way. He didn't return to the game, and the final was 44-30. Now, there's no word on the extent of Colin Klein's injury right now. Snyder doesn't talk about injuries. Do know this. After Klein left the game and didn't return, Kansas State scored only 6 points. It really underscored again his importance to the offense.
Well, we've been saying all year that Colin Klein might be the best football player in the entire country. You just don't lose a guy of that talent. Now, they have put in Daniel Sams. He is just a freshman. He's going to be a fine quarterback, I'm sure. But he doesn't replace a tremendous guy like Colin Klein. He did a good job, but they only put 6 points on the board. When Colin Klein was in there, they put 38 points on the board in 35 minutes. They put in over 350 yards with him. And you can't expect a freshman to come in and replace a Heisman candidate, maybe the Heisman winner.
You saw the arrows where it was illustrated the difference in the vision, and we've talked all season about the patience that Klein has in the running game. I think a lot of times, Mark, though, we've made this out to be a one-man team, and they're not that. Klein's a star. He's an unbelievable leader. But the defense came up with some big plays against the #1 offense in the country in total yards.
And sometimes, especially when you lose your leader, you've got to pick up the pace, and they did it defensively. And defensive coordinator Tom Hayes did a terrific job schematically with this defense. Right here, a terrific job by Alan Chapman of watching the quarterback's eyes, breaking on the ball. He gets the pick 6. Now, here what I'm talking about schematically, what the defense does. Watch the wide receiver breaking across the middle, but look at the defensive secondary. All looking back, these guys play the ball. This secondary plays the ball, which is outstanding. That's why they force a lot of turnovers. They're a bunch of ball hawks. They're greedy. I like that about their defense. Go find the ball and get it defensively. Another turnover here. They force 5 turnovers. Watch them bracket the wide receiver. Get somebody in front, somebody in back, come up with the interception, prevent a touchdown. You look at this defense. After forcing the 5 turnovers tonight, they forced 20. They're 21 plus 21 in turnover margin, which leads the nation. You can't ask any more from your defense. If you're giving up a lot of yards and a lot of points, get the ball back to the offenses, and that's exactly what they do.
But if Colin Klein cannot go, we don't know, they're going to put tremendous pressure on the defense at Kansas State because they're not the same team without him on offense.
You know, some around the Miami program, they played Kansas State earlier this year, also played Notre Dame. And look, they have all the respect in the world for Manti Te'o. They said they thought maybe the best defensive individual player they'd seen all year was Arthur Brown of Kansas State. He and Meshack Williams over the course of the season, part of that ball-hawking defense that's put Kansas State in position to contend for a national championship. Now, a lot of talk has been that Kansas State's done its heavy lifting. They've already beaten Oklahoma, and though the West Virginia win doesn't look quite the same as it did at the time, that their marquee games were over. Still maybe a couple of opportunities. They go to TCU next week. Horned Frogs 6-3. That would be a legitimate win. The computers already loved them. They were tied for first spot in the computers in the BCS along with Notre Dame. And look at that December 1st game. Instead of a Big 12 championship game, got old Texas sitting there.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Longhorns might have found a little bit of defense on Saturday. The Kansas State might have some more chances to impress the voters. Well, Florida coming off the loss to Georgia that really put a hurting on their hopes of playing in the SEC championship game against Missouri. Missouri was very, very generous while visiting the Swamp. They threw it to the Gators 4 times. Matt Elam picked off James Franklin. It is still a 7-7 game. The Gators very lethargic. Mike Gillislee's going to save their backsides.
Oh, fabulous job of executing the screen on this play by Gillislee. A nice job by Jeff Driscoll. He's looking left, right here, setting up the screen, getting the pass rush. You got to be a good actor as an offensive lineman. Get those pass rushers up the field of play towards the quarterback. Driscoll drops it off to Gillislee. Good blocking out front. Gillislee's just going to use his speed blocking down the field. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown Gators.
It's still a 7-point game. Look where Missouri is, just outside the 20. And another interception to end it. Josh Evans picks it off. That's the final SEC game for Muschamp. He finishes 7-1. So, Will?
What's it like? You guys have done your part now for that SEC championship game, but your fate does rest in the hands of Georgia. What's it like to have to sit and watch that and wait?
Hotty toddy, gosh almighty.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Hey, Will's just honest. If Ole Miss had beaten Georgia, then Florida would be in the SEC championship game. So that's what he needed. Aaron Murray. Georgia's run this play forever. Takes a lot of guts for the quarterback to run it, doesn't it?
It does that. You got to have confidence in your offensive line and the fact that defense is going to be held by the tremendous faith.
All of them were. And Aaron Murray found a wide open Marlon Brown. Georgia was down 10-0 at this point, and this really turned the game around. Turning the game around turnovers. Now, keep up with this. Mark this down at home. Georgia 1st and 10 at the 38. Keith Marshall, the freshman, spits it up. Ole Miss gets it. The very next play, Bo Wallace, perfect pass to Vince Sanders. Hey, Vince, you forgot something. Whoops. Swan going the other way. So 2 plays later, Todd Gurley on the deck. Rebs recover. Next play, Wallace scrambles and buys a little time, and he's picked off by Alec Ogletree. 4 turnovers in 1 minute and 10 seconds. You ever seen anything like that?
Yes, unfortunately, when I was coaching.
Murray would find Malcolm Mitchell. Ole Miss kept trying to blitz Murray. Murray made him pay. They'd go on to win it 37-10. So here's how the SEC East looks now. Florida is finished. Corking the schedule, adding Texas A&M and Missouri. They've kind of moved the schedule around. Gators done with their SEC games. They have to hope that Auburn beats Georgia. Hey, Florida, good season. Yep. Enjoy the SEC East co-championship, and Georgia's going to win and go to Atlanta for the 2nd straight year. Am I speaking too soon?
No.
No, I don't think so. College football final will roll on. The Big 12 newcomers, they've been welcomed rudely to the conference of late, and they played a tremendous game in Morgantown. Lots of folks in purple were celebrating. People in purple and gold in Death Valley, well, they were about a minute away from the celebration, and Alabama broke their heart again. We'll visit with A.J. McCarron when you come back.
This is College Football Final, presented by AT&T.
Louisville has never been 9-0. I mean, not even when dirt was invented. Never have they been 9-0. Playing against Temple. Always, it seems, Louisville is behind. And they were for the 6th straight game, 14-7 against Temple. But Teddy Bridgewater finds Ryan Hubble, and Hubble had his telescope set on the end zone. 72 yards. Louisville ties it at 14. Now it's a 31-17 game. Bridgewater is going to find Devontae Parker. Bridgewater threw for 324, 5 touchdowns. He's got 18 touchdowns, only 4 picks all year. Clever design by offensive coordinator Sean Watson to get this one free as we take a look on ESPN Access.
Well, what you're going to see is the 2 individuals come down. They're going to drag the other guy all the way across the other end of the field. This can only work when your quarterback can buy time, and Bridgewater can certainly do that, and you get great protection. This takes forever for that play to develop.
It's a nice job of the quarterback being patient on this play. The 2 wide receivers running the safety off deep, throwing the ball underneath. He gets the receiver he wants, and great touch on the pass by Teddy Bridgewater.
Louisville, 9-0 for the first time. Charlie Strong's got them rolling, 45-17. 2 old buddies, Strong and Adazio, both on Urban Meyer's staff at Florida, greeting each other. Big 12 newcomers, TCU and West Virginia, both lost 2 in a row. Here goes Tavon Austin.
I don't know if there's a more exciting runner in college football than Tavon Austin, particularly as a wide receiver. What a threat.
He, DeAnthony Thomas, right there, I would say among the most exciting guys. Now, this game ought to be over. It's 31-24, 2nd and 19 from your own 6. And how is Josh Boyce this open for TCU, Mayday?
Just a mistake by the defense, running up in coverage, and right here it's a foot race to the end zone. It was almost like the same identical play against Baylor.
And what, 94 yards when you're up with under 2 minutes? Please. Double overtime game now. Geno trying to save him. Smith had decent numbers. Threw for 260 and 3 touchdowns. West Virginia now 38-31 all Patterson's. Doing a little trickery. Brandon Carter finds Corey Fuller. Remember last year when TCU, that was a regulation game at Boise State, decided to go for 2 in the win? Well, you got to go for 2 in triple overtime. Gary decides to do it right here. Trayvon Boykin to Josh Boyce. Got under it, caught it, and West Virginia's on their first 3-game losing streak since 2004. Patterson Bowl eligible. 6-3, 39-38 the final. There he is. Some like to call him Johnny Manziel, but I call him Scooby-Doo. Wore a Scooby-Doo costume on Halloween, and let's just say that Johnny's popular in College Station. You don't understand that? Look it up. Kristen Michael went in to score. 2nd quarter, same score. This is where the Bulldogs of Mississippi State were looking at old Scooby-Doo and going, what, little Raggy? Here goes Manziel.
Just tremendous job. He had a receiver open deep, and he thought he'd probably run up and hand it to the receiver himself. What an exciting quarterback, and a freshman.
Johnny, would you run again for 1 Scooby snack? Would you run for 2 Scooby Snacks?
Okay.
311 yards passing, 129 rushing. Johnny Manziel, wow, 38-13. They hammered the Dogs to start in Vegas. Well, A.J. McCarron is certainly no Johnny Manziel as a runner, but he led a great drive, scored a running touchdown, and threw the game winner. Back to Baton Rouge now with the Crimson Tide quarterback. Joins the game day guys.
All right, thank you, Reese. Tiger Stadium all quiet except for the one corner of Crimson back here waiting the curtain call from A.J. McCarron. We'll get to the particulars of that 72-yard drive in the last minute and a half, A.J., but let's begin with the emotions. You've accomplished a lot as a player and as a team, but what were you feeling when you sprinted to the corner to see your parents at the end of the game?
Every type of emotion you can imagine. I mean, it was just truly a blessing, and none of this would be possible without my teammates, man. I mean, they played a fantastic game. Defense, I mean, they struggled some during the night, but I mean, that's a very good LSU team over there, and but they came together and gave us a chance to go down and win it.
You know the question, A.J., people wondered, how would Alabama respond when somebody could finally give you a 4-quarter fight? Adversity, folks, doesn't get any better than that right there. That was deafening when you guys started that drive. No timeouts, buck 34, 72 yards away. Take us through the final drive.
I mean, it's something we practice all the time. Every Thursday, we go through a 2-minute drill, and Coach Saban puts it pretty tough on us. I mean, he'll be like, a minute with no timeouts or a minute with 1 timeout, and we got to go 80-something yards.
Can you simulate that, though, in practice?
Worked out pretty well. We do. and we go against a pretty tough defense also in practice. So, and that helps us out a ton. And everybody, I mean, you could just see the look in everybody's eyes. I mean, we knew. It was just a confidence level that we would go down and get a touchdown. Right
well, talk about playing this team now, because this is 3 times that you've squared off with them in a calendar year in a great defense, and then playing in this environment, and how big of a challenge it was.
I mean, this place is awesome to play in. I mean, there's so much tradition in this place. It's so loud, especially night game. I mean, you know. Oh, yeah. And, I mean, it's something special to play here, but it's just crazy how, like, everybody on our offense just had that look in their eyes and knew that we could go down and score and win the ball game.
What'd you say to your big boys for keeping Mingo and Montgomery and all those boys off you?
They won't have to pay for a meal the rest of this week, probably.
You guys are in field goal range. You're in field goal range to force overtime, but talk about the touchdown pass, the flip back to the freshman T.J. Yeldon, who stepped up on a big stage.
I mean, you can't say enough about him, especially after what happened to us down here. And, you know, a lot of freshmen would have went in the hole right there, and he's bounced back, and we had all the faith in him. But like I said, none of that at all would be possible without our big guys up front.
How many times, AJ, as a kid growing up, have you dreamed about a drive and a touchdown like that?
I mean, that's something you dream about in any sport you play. You know, when you're a little kid, you're like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or shoot it or throw it. I mean, that's awesome, and you know, it'll go down in the history of Alabama, and it's special to be a part of.
What does it say about your team now going forward? You've answered the test. How will you handle adversity in the 4th quarter? There's still some important steps to take, but how did Alabama grow as a football team here tonight, AJ?
Tremendously. But I think it goes back to, you know, everybody paying attention and always focusing on what coach is preaching. And he's always preaching 60-minute ball game, you know, fight through adversity, never give up attitude. And we got a tough one next week. Texas A&M coming in, so we're going to have to be back. You know, enjoy this win for 24 hours like Coach says, and come back and be ready to play next week.
In the chaos of Tiger Stadium, 72 yards and 43 seconds for a game-winning, perfect season-preserving touchdown drive, A.J. McCarron in Alabama. This is one for the Tide's history books.
That it was, Chris, and one for the Oregon history books, and one that USC would like to forget. Perhaps made it a 2-man race in the Heisman Trophy between Kenyon Barner and Colin Klein. We've got plenty of suggestions for helmet stickers. Some saying maybe Western Michigan quarterback Tyler Van Tubergen should get one. Counted for 5 touchdowns as they beat the Chippewas.
Sunday.
Plenty of people have been saying what is wrong with Texas, and as college football final rolls on with my Hall of Fame running mates Lou Holtz and Mark May, I say when you play for the Chancellor Spurs, drag the record books to the recycle bin. Texas and Texas Tech in Lubbock You know what? David Ash really stepped up. Got benched late against Kansas. Case McCoy led the victory. Ash threw for 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, including 75-yarder to Mike Davis, Luke.
Just tremendous throw. Good route there. Texas Tech was playing great defense till the last couple of weeks.
Third quarter, Tech down 24-16. Seth Diggy to Eric Stevens. Hey, look, do I have to open this line again? My boy, Coach Tubbs, went for 2. Why'd you go for 2, Tommy? Still the third quarter? Because, see, what happens then is when Ash hits Davis again, they kick it, now you're down 2 scores. As it turns out, it didn't matter, but I'm going to make $1 million on that business telling Coach to go for 2. Try to help.
They can afford it. Salary they get.
That's true. I'm just trying to help, too. Nebraska and Michigan State. This was a big game in the Legends Division of the Big Ten. Taylor Martinez to Kyler Reed. That's a 4th and 10 play. Now, Martinez turned the ball over a couple times. Didn't throw it well until late. And then into the end zone. Pass interference is called, and the Huskers have a 1st and goal. The Huskers never led in this game. Sparty had control on the banks of the Red Cedar. D'Antonio hated the call. Then Martinez, by the way, broke the Nebraska record for total offense on the day, and he threw the game-winning touchdown pass and kept the Huskers in control in the Legends Division with a 28-24 victory. Great win for Bo Pelini and Big Red. Oregon State going with Cody Vaz at quarterback against high-octane football. Vaz to Marcus Wheaton made it.
Nice touch on the ball here. Vaz gets the start in this game, and he played extremely well.
Wheaton and Brandon Cooks, 2 dangerous receivers. Of course, any receiver's dangerous if he's that open.
It's there. And that is against the best pass defense in the Pac-12.
Beavers bounced back from their only loss against Washington, 36-26. Stanford kept hapless Colorado, just that, 48-0. And, hey, Arizona, enjoy being ranked. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you.
You're mean.
Another Route 66 for UCLA. Remember when they put 66 on Texas? Yep. This time it was just a local trip. Kenyon Barner, he ran for like 66 miles against USC, and Colin Klein did it again. Could it be that we have some separation in the Heisman race?
Welcome back to College Football Final, presented by AT&T.
Clemson and Duke. Clemson's waiting for a Florida State loss, hoping to make it back to the ACC championship game. Duke in the fight for the Coastal, but they were not in the fight against Clemson. Taj Boyd to Nuke Hopkins. Nuke caught 4 passes for 128 yards. 3 of them, he wound up in the end zone.
Nice.
He's had a great year, and so too has Taj Boyd.
He's had a tremendous year. We talk about the Heisman. There's a young man you got to put on the list.
I'm glad you're back. 56-20. Fighting Dabo's winning. Boyd, 344, accounted for 5 touchdowns. Another guy who's doing some work at the quarterback position, Braxton Miller against Illinois. Miller threw for 226, couple of scores, ran for 73 more, hit Rod Smith for 51. 52. Ohio State's the only 10-0 team in the country. Of course, you probably know they're on probation and eligible for the national championship and the Big Ten title. Capital One Cup nominees for the impact performances of the week. Georgia's Aaron Murray, 21-28, 384 yards and 4 scores. The Dogs fell behind 10-0, then scored 37 in a row against Ole Miss. Georgia just needs to beat Auburn to lock up a spot in the SEC title game. Teddy Bridgewater. Who throws a prettier ball than Teddy Bridgewater? Nobody. 324 yards passing, 5 touchdowns in the Cardinals' victory against Temple. Louisville 9-0 for the first time in school history. Who's the most explosive quarterback Chip Kelly's ever had? This guy, Marcus Mariota, 304 yards passing, 96 rushing yards, counted for 4 touchdowns. The most important thing he did on the night was hand the ball to Kenyon Barner. That's an impact performance for sure. And what about Alan Chapman of Kansas State? 3 interceptions and an interception return for a touchdown in Emaw's victory against Oklahoma State. Kansas State remains perfect. So here are the nominees for the Capital One Cup Impact Performance of the Week. Log on to ESPN.com/Capital One Cup to cast your vote.
This Capital One Cup Impact Performance was brought to you by Capital One Cup, recognizing the best in men's and women's college sports.
Had a lot of fun on the show, but our thoughts continue to be with a more serious topic. Millions of people on the East Coast affected by Hurricane Sandy. Red Cross is trying to help with shelter, food, clothes for people in 9 states. Relief efforts, expensive to donate. We'd like for you to, if you can, help any way you can. www.redcross.org. Call 1-800-RED-CROSS, or if you text Red Cross to 90999, you'll donate $10. By the way, the Walt Disney Company, which owns ESPN, has committed $2 million for the relief efforts for the Superstorm Sandy. College football final, still have helmet stickers to hand out. What about Devin Gardner? Shoelace didn't play. Little Brown Jug still in possession of the Wolverines. Gardner had a huge day. Was it enough to land one of the coveted stickers? Had some big numbers and some clutch performances. We'll hand out the awards when you come back to College Football Final.
College Football Final is presented by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
Top 4 teams in the BCS all challenged but one. What impact will it have? You'll see exclusively. BCS Countdown, 8:30 Eastern Time will start on ESPN, continue on the U at 9 Eastern. Our BCS guru, Brad Edwards, says there will be some movement. He expects Oregon to jump past Notre Dame into that 3 spot. We'll see on BCS Countdown. Boise State hoped for a BCS at large. They had to win out, taking on San Diego State. You see in a 21-13 game, Joe Southwick hits Dan Paul. Now Boise State, which is 71-1 in their last 72 regular season home games. Lost last year to TCU. Needed a 2-pointer to tie. Didn't get it. Aztecs win it 21-19. First win against a ranked team since 1996.
Awesome.
San Diego State. Let's rank them.
Well, my top 5 are Alabama, Oregon, Kansas State, Notre Dame, followed by the Georgia Bulldogs.
Mine's exactly the same, except Notre Dame's 3 and K-State's 4. The only change.
Oh, you moved Notre Dame down a spot this week, right? Helmet, from last week. Helmet sticker T-shirts go to schools that have players who win helmet stickers. Theme here, guys. Go ahead. Give me your first one.
How about Oregon's running back Kenyon Barber? 321 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns against USC, most by any running backs ever had against the Trojans in their victory over USC.
Quarterback A.J. McCarron, 4 out of 5 in the last drive, 72 yards, winning touchdown.
Winning touchdown also delivered Taylor Martinez, kept Nebraska in control in the Big Ten Legends as they beat Michigan State on the road. All 3 guys so far with road wins.
How about Texas A&M quarterback Johnny Scooby-Doo Manziel? 311 yards passing, 129 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns in their victory over Mississippi State.
And wide receiver Josh Boyce, 6 receptions, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the winning 2-point conversion.
And San Diego State gets a win against a ranked team, particularly on the blue. How tough it is to win at Boise State. Adam Uema gets a helmet sticker, went for 127 yards and a rushing touchdown. Now, all 6 of the guys we picked all had teams that won on the road. Tyson Hansen tweeting in that it's about time to give Reggie Dunn some love. I got a lot of heat on Twitter for not giving him love last week for returning kicks. So Reggie gets the fan helmet sticker this week. 2nd week in a row he's had a kick or a punt return of at least 100 yards. Took one back against Wazoo as the Utes hammered them 49-6.